If you've ever been ready to blow something up, fireworks, of course, guys, come on. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, where we reach the end of the week, our Synthetic Friday here on a Thursday, which, as a reminder, is only a half day today. Markets close at 1 p.m. Eastern today, and the after-hours session goes until the regular scheduled time. I believe it's 8 Eastern, so it's just a long after-hour session here today. And then we're off tomorrow for Independence Day, the 4th of July. Now, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we'll see how it all shakes out. We've got a lot of stuff here to do today. We've got the initial jobless claims and the non-farm payrolls and the PMI here this morning. So we actually have a data print and then a half day of a market to digest that, and then we're off tomorrow, and that should make Monday pretty interesting. However, Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Thursday, July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. And if you can't tell, I am extremely happy and ready for this weekend. It is going to be awesome. Cannot wait to get on the golf course tomorrow. Cannot wait to celebrate the United States' independence here this weekend. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces as always. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody back. Kayla, good morning. It's good to see you again. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Good to see you. Jane locked in. Let's go. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Kerching, I love it. Good morning. Charles, welcome back. Couch Potato, welcome back. I don't know how much of a couch potato I'm going to be this weekend. I think I'm going to be out and about every day starting tomorrow early. Sean, good morning. Good to see you again. Mama Bear's locked in. Let's go. Empyrean, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Salute, boss. Good morning. Welcome back. Pete, good morning. It's good to see you again. Ann, good morning. Dirkus, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Bobby, LFG, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's go. Indeed. Good morning, EKS. SMU has hit a new 52-week high, but the SOXS has not. This means all semiconductor members of the index have rallied in a significant way yet. Not all semiconductors have rallied. Which ones do you like, EKS? Which ones do you think might make the next good trade? Good stuff there. Starting the morning off. Day Trader, welcome back. Good to see you as always, my man. Graph, welcome back. Quantum, welcome back. Harley, welcome back. And happy 4th, indeed. Fairchild, how's it going? Howdy, y'all. I love it. Hoot, welcome back. Special K, good morning. It's good to see you again. JJ, welcome back. Producers locked in. Chuck, welcome back. Good morning. Yasso Fine, welcome back. Hisham, welcome back. Eshok, welcome back. Mama Bear says, golfing Saskatoon. Have you been there? I have not. And I've actually heard in the summer Saskatoon is gorgeous. I have not been there, though. Maybe I ought to check that out. Brian, welcome back. It's good to see you. Rooster, welcome back. Steppen, welcome back. Day Trader says, I have 4 days starting Friday. I'll be here Monday, all session undistracted. Oh, you got to be excited. Your day job is off on Monday. Let's go. I bet you're stoked about that. I'm stoked for you. Zoo, good morning. Welcome back. Abby, welcome back. Let's go. Chisholm, good morning. You say, sir, I turn around and look for my dad, but good morning anyway. King has, good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, it's good to see you as always. And James, good morning. It's time for a barbecue. James, I didn't even wait for the 4th of July. Yesterday, I made homemade Philly cheesesteaks on my Blackstone, and good Lord, that was good. I don't even know how I'm going to top that tonight, but we'll see. Big B's, good to see you again. Carlos, good to see you again as well. All right, let's take a look at the market here. We'll also take a look at the morning update. As mentioned, we have some econ data points to get here today. Got some news that we're going to go through, and then we're going to take a look at stocks, and we're going to trade some stuff here today. S&P futures, real quick check right now. S&P futures actually at the morning highs right now, up 0.13%. Dow futures up 0.13%, and the NASDAQ up 0.12%. So it's all about the same. They're in the green, but barely. They're just kind of holding on to unch, frankly. Ruby, good morning, and Larry, good morning. Let's go ahead and dive right into the chart here. Boom. We'll take a look at the SPY as we continue our breakout and our march to new all-time highs. We are set to print a new all-time high. If we open right here, that would be 2 days in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 2 days in a row, because Monday We did not, or excuse me, Tuesday, we did not. New all-time highs. We keep pushing here. We are actually discussing this in happy hour yesterday, and I think the consensus was if we keep trading up here before we pull back, 630, 640 is probably the stopping spot, or somewhere in there is the stopping spot on the SPY, but we'll see. A lot of this is going to come down to the data we get this morning, I suspect. Downside levels here, really the only thing that's important to me is going to be that 613.23. I guess I would say an honorable mention here of the 615.50. That would be the low from the candle on Tuesday. That low we pretty much held through Monday and Tuesday. So maybe if we trade down to that level, that might be a key level here today. But really that breakout from the all-time high at 613.23, that should provide some support if indeed we do trade back down there. But again, we'll see what we get here today. Now, let's take a look at the morning update. As discussed, we are waiting on the ISM Services PMI, the S&P Global Services PMI, the initial jobless claims, and the non-farm payrolls and average hourly earnings. This is the first data point that we're going to get at 8:30. That's the one that we're really looking for here today. And then the indices, we just talked about that. I know it looks green here because technically we are green, but for the most part, we're pretty flat actually here today. So not a whole lot there. No IPOs today. They decided not to IPO anything on a half day. Probably a good idea. Glad we're not going to have to deal with that at all. And then we do have Lattice Semiconductor, ticker LSCC. I always screw that one up. LSCC. They do have a couple of events here today, so maybe that causes the stock to move, but otherwise, that's about it. Fireside chat moderated by William Blair. That's going to be July 8th. That is Tuesday of next week. That's for LEU, one of the big winners here. EKS is asking, how do we listen to the happy hour? What time and what channel? EKS, this is not a YouTube-based thing. That's why people can't find it. This is a Zoom call that is available only to Benzinga Pro members. So if you are a Benzinga Pro subscriber at any tier or any level, you will have access to the happy hour. I understand that that kind of is behind a paywall. So one of the things that you hear me saying here all of the time, I try to bring discussions that we have from the happy hour that I think are valuable here. And I try to summarize them here or add to opinions here. So I don't want to make that an exclusive cool kids club, but the reality is if you want to join and participate in the happy hour, you need to be a Benzinga Pro member. Okay, looking at the rest of this here, there were some initiations here today. I didn't really see anything on here that kind of gets me going. Meta had an upgrade, Needham with a hold on it, showing as an upgrade here. Meta's unchanged here today, so it's not really moving around. But that's basically what's going on. Let's dive into the news here real quick. Let me actually get the chart back up here and get this ready because we're going to be taking a look at some stocks today. That's for sure. We are going to start here with some of the news. U.S. stocks likely to open higher as Trump announces the Vietnam trade deal, which is clearly the reason that we traded higher yesterday, albeit on low volume. I think we finished with like 60 million shares in the SPY. S&P 500's Golden Cross, reason to expect better than average returns, says expert. So this is something that we had actually talked about recently. And if we go back just real quick here, we Golden Cross right here, I believe. This is going to be Tuesday, July 1st. That actually lines up with some of the positive seasonality that we've seen. We've continued to move higher here. So let's see if this Golden Cross really gives us some more move to the upside. At least one expert thinks that's the case. The stocks were higher following President Trump's announcement of a deal with Vietnam on a Truth Social post on yesterday. The NASDAQ, as a reminder, the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange close at 1 on Thursday or today and stay closed all day on Friday. The U.S. bond market will also have an early close at 2 p.m. today and remain closed on July 4th. Now, the 10-year Treasury, 4.25, and the 2-year bond at 3.76. Those continue to behave, if you will. Coming down to some of these analysts here, Ryan Dietrich from Carson Research highlighted, quote, another bullish sign, end quote, in one of his recent posts. He pointed out that the S&P 500 index saw a golden cross. Okay, so he said July 2nd. I had said July 1st when we looked at the chart. I eyeballed it, and I was a day off. Quote, this happens when the faster 50-day moving average moves above the slower 200-day moving average. Dietrich added that, quote, all things considered, this is yet another reason to expect a better than average returns going forward. See if we end up getting that. His graphics here, or his tweets, include a lot of visual aids that are really helpful. However, the senior global strategist at Wells Fargo, Scott Redden, who we've been quoting a lot here, said that, quote, our feel is that stocks are ahead of themselves, and we are looking to trim positions in overvalued markets and sectors. Now, somewhere out there, Lion Atlas is fist pumping. Somewhere out there, he's fist pumping because he has been saying sell these pops. And it looks like Scott thinks, hey, maybe stocks are ahead of themselves, might come back in a little. So we should expect that. Ren explained that most market strategists don't want to see the kind of market volatility that the S&P 500 index has experienced over the past 4 months. Market strategists might not want it, but traders like us, this is our bread and butter. Quote, but just when a bit of panic sets into the minds of some investors, stocks turned seemingly on a dime, and in less than 3 months gained back all that was lost and then some, setting a new record high to close out last week's trading, end quote. He also reiterated that Wells Fargo believes the Wall Street consensus is overly optimistic on the tariff outlook, and thus the growth rate in calendar year 2025. Easy for me to say. Quote, investors could choose to hold those funds or reinvest in sectors more favorable in our work, which includes technology, financials, energy, utilities, and communication services. These are probably 5 of the biggest sectors that we discuss here on a regular basis. I know we also kind of throw around consumer staples in there, consumer defensive. But stocks were cheap, and investors might also choose to hold those funds to reinvest if the downside volatility we expect develops. They're basically saying, we expect some savvy investors to at least have some cash on hand. Again, I hear in my head somewhere Lion Atlas is screaming and fist pumping. I believe he said yesterday or the day before he's 50% cash waiting for some of these moves down. So we'll see what ends up taking place there. Now, I do have one stock that I want to take a look at here. Let's pull up Google. GOOG. Let's take a look at the chart. Okay, so here we are on Google. This was another stock that we have discussed quite a bit here recently, as well as Happy Hour. Google has a pretty interesting chart forming, if you ask me. We've really kind of traded sideways since July of last year. There's been some ups and downs, but I mean, for the most part, we've just kind of moved sideways. The chart here shows a potential head and shoulders here. It actually looks a little bit better if you look at it on the weekly, to be quite honest. But in addition to that, we also have this parallel channel that is a slight downtrend, with the exception of the one pop that we had here. This is going to be at the beginning of December there. We have this parallel channel that we are butting up against the top side. And you'll see here, this is it. We actually did this twice already. We did not have the strength to move above it. Now, the one thing to keep in mind here, the reason that this is important is because this really could go either way. First of all, if we do continue to trade higher here and we invalidate this right shoulder, I think your head and shoulder, or your potential head and shoulders here, is gone. The other thing to note is that we are actually doing a really good job holding above the 200. So this recent up move was a move off the 50. We recaptured the 200. We actually back tested it and started to move higher in the last couple of sessions here. So I think we're coming up to a decision point pretty quick here. And if you take a look at the chart, it's pretty clear where some of these levels are. Big key level here to watch today, 182. Okay, 182 here on Google. We're currently sitting at 179.83. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the article really quick. This magnificent... Oh, that's fun. This Magnificent Seven stock is absurdly cheap, and it probably won't stay that way for long. Alphabet, one of the most dominant players in the Mag 7 tech group, is now trading at a price to earnings ratio that's historically associated with powerful stock rallies, setting up what could be a rare buying opportunity. What is that, you ask? Well, here you go. Forward PE of 19.3 on Google here. Good morning, Lion. Did you hear any of that? I said twice already this morning that I heard you screaming and fist pumping based on what some of the analysts were saying. Let me know if you heard any of that. That's fun stuff. Anyway, Google here, forward PE 19.3 according to Benzinga Pro. The price to earnings ratio measures how much investors are willing to pay For each dollar of a company's profit, a lower PE can signal that the stock is undervalued, especially when compared to its historical averages. As of July 2nd, Alphabet trades at 19.8 times. So this has come in a little bit since July 2nd. It's trailing 12 months earnings. That's 16% below the 20-year average of 32, putting it near valuation levels rarely seen over the past 2 decades. The last time Alphabet traded at this low PE ratio was May of 2025, when it briefly touched 17.1 times. That's just shy of the record low at 16.2 times seen on November 12th, 2008, during the depths of the financial crisis. Here's a chart to actually show that, okay? The one key takeaway here, let me finish up here, sorry. Other low PE episodes include June 11, March 12, and September 22. Each of those moments came before significant long-term rallies in the stock. So again, the graphic here does a really good job of showing this. This is where you see those low PEs. This is how the stock performs after. This is where we're at right now. So it sure looks like, at least based on historical performance for this individual stock, it looks like we're setting up a potential long-term rally in the stock. My question to you, who likes Google here? Who thinks Google might actually set up for a long-term rally here? I'd be curious to know. EKS, Google's slow RSI of 67.25, trending higher, showing accumulation buying. Okay, so that kind of supports this. I think that kind of supports this. Okay, interesting. Historical data suggests that buying Alphabet at discounted valuations has been a profitable long-term strategy. Buy low, sell high, duh. Every time its price to earnings ratio fell below 20 in the past 2 decades, investors who stayed the course for a year or more reaped far better returns than usual. After hitting its record low valuation in 2008, Alphabet returned 88% in just 1 year and 68.1% over the next 2 years. The post-2011 and 2012 recoveries were also strong, delivering gains of 73.2% and 71%, respectively, over the 2 years. Even after the September 2022 dip, when Alphabet fell into bear market with a PE ratio of nearly 19, the stock rallied 32% over the next 12 months and 51.2% within those 24 months. Across the 4 historical periods when Alphabet traded below 20 times earnings, the average 2-year... Are you kidding me? The average 2-year return was a remarkable 65.9%, while the 1-year gain averaged 38.5%, more than double its 20-year annualized return of 17.3%. So that's a lot of numbers there to say, hey, we're at a situation where it might make sense to buy Google for a long-term, maybe even, let's just call it a long-term swing. Maybe we're not even going to do a long-term investment, but a swing. In contrast, short-term performance was mixed. 1-month returns after low PE events averaged minus 1.6%, while 3-month gains averaged just 2.7%. The real upside consistently showed up after 1 year or more. So this to me is interesting, because you look at the setup here, you look at the performance, think to yourself, okay, this is an easy one. And then if, like, let's just say entry was today, right after entry, maybe you see a little bit of a down move. Maybe you see a bit of a down move there. And then if you stay the course, if you remain patient, if you remain convicted in your trade, you end up getting rewarded. It'll be interesting to see if this happens again. And furthermore, it'll be interesting to see if we get any other type of dip, because this article or this plan makes it seem like that dip is viable. On March 28th of 2025, Alphabet was trading at 154.33 with a PE of around 17.1. Since then, the stock has posted a modest 10.2% gain over the past 3 months. While past performance doesn't guarantee future results, the data suggests that patient investors buying at these discounted multiples have oft been rewarded. So you folks, let me know. Okay, Lion Atlas. So despite you thinking that the market is going to correct, you love Google. Google is a cash cow. I agree with you. So Lion, let me ask you, let's say that your hypothesis plays out and we get a move down in the market, a correction. I'm not even really worried about the depth of the correction here or how much it goes down. I'm just saying, let's say we get a correction by your definition. Are you adding to your Google position? Are you adding to your Google position? You let me know. Okay, 10 minutes until we get that data point, folks. 10 minutes. Let's talk about another potential, trade here. We're going to go back to Pro real quick. We're going to turn away from Google. And we're going to go to JPM. Talked a little bit about financials. I feel like we don't necessarily. Oh, come on now. That's just got broken right there. Boop. All right. I feel like we talk about. I actually blame myself for this one. I've never really been great at timing entry on financial stocks. And a lot of the more experienced traders that I've hung around with, a lot of them often have some type of banking exposure somewhere in their portfolio or trading plan. A lot of times it's more of a long-term thing. But this is definitely something that I've been weak on and I've been trying to get better at. So I'd love to hear from the group what you folks think on different financial companies, which ones are best. I think that it's pretty common knowledge that things like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are going to be the best. So I'm definitely interested in hearing trade plans on those. I mean, look at this chart here on JPM. We had this the Liberation Day dip that took us below the 200-day. Oh my God, almost to the 500-day. Recovered that, really tested this trend line over a couple of weeks. Now we've broken through it. We're at new all-time highs here on JP Morgan. Everything seems to be clicking. They report earnings in less than 2 weeks here, 12 days away. So let's take a look and see what we can figure out here. Something big is brewing in gold, stocks, and the dollar. JP Morgan's half-year 2025 outlook. Even as U.S. stocks traded all-time highs, J.P. Morgan's new mid-year outlook suggests a quiet storm may be forming under the surface, one that could see gold soar, the dollar weaken, and markets reset in the second half of 2025. So again, going back, Lion, what you were just saying there, or anyone else, I hate to keep quoting Lion, but I'm not sure what the rest of you actually feel about for the near term as well as the second half of 2025. But this saying, hey, maybe we see a little bit of a reset there. This would buck a lot of the seasonality that we've been talking about. This would buck a lot of what we think is going to happen here with the administration and things like that. So this definitely, at least to me, seems like a contrarian call. Nonetheless, in a report shared Tuesday, the investment bank forecasted the S&P 500 as tracked by the Vanguard VOO ETF to finish the year at 6,000, implying a modest 3.5% pullback from current levels around 6,220. This would mark a positive year overall, underpinned by a 12% increase in earnings with further growth expected in 2026. Now, really quickly here, I take the opposite side of this. I tend to think that if we see any type of weakness, if we see any type of correction or down move or a subpar performance, we probably see that in 2026 as things readjust and digest. I'm unsure that we see that in 2025. Now, I could very easily be wrong on this. I totally get it. But where I sit today, I kind of think the rest of 2025 will be pretty good. I wouldn't even be terribly shocked if we printed 6,500 on the S&P futures, but we'll see how that shakes out. I tend to believe that 2026 might show a little bit more weakness, but I don't work for JP Morgan, so it is what it is. Quote, the economy and consumers have shown resilience and corporations delivered healthy pre-Liberation Day growth of 12% despite the implied aggregate tariff rate surpassing 20%. And by the way, I do have my eye on the clock, so I know 7 minutes until we get that data print. I will stop and go over to that so we can observe that here together. That quote came from, I'm going to screw this up, Dubravko Lakos-Bujas. I hope I did all right. I really did try there. Head of global market strategy at JP Morgan. Yet there are reasons for caution. Quote, we remain open to the economy slowing in the second half of this year at a time when valuation is less supportive, end quote. He said nothing that the market may repeat, noting that the market may repeat the pattern seen in 2023 to 2024, narrow leadership and high concentration. Inflation is expected to heat up again during the summer months. This is the big wild card. This could push the Fed's next rate cut to December. Now, there's a lot of thoughts here. I am not in the camp. I really have never been in the camp, and I'm not in the camp right now that there is a July rate cut coming. To me, it sure seems like September and December to fill out the two rate cuts before the year end makes a lot of sense. This year saying in a worst case case scenario, maybe that gets pushed. The only cut, if we get a cut, gets pushed to December. Quote, we anticipate this tariff shock to generate broad-based downshift in global growth and rotation and inflation pressures towards the U.S., said Bruce Cashman. So my first follow-up question here, did we just uncover the identity of one of the traders in our group? Day trader, is your real name Bruce Cashman? And are you a chief economist? Because this sounds an awful lot like what you've been preparing for here. And that's not a slight at all. This is exactly what makes a market. It sure seems like Bruce is on the same side as you. Lol, no. I was kidding. I kid. But nonetheless. Gold's rally is not over. Gold's bullish trend is far from over, with JP Morgan forecasting the metal to average $36.75 per ounce in the fourth quarter of 2025 and potentially exceeding $4,000 by the second half of 2026. Quote, for investors, we think gold remains the most optimal hedge for the unique combination of stagflation, recession, and debasement and U.S. policy risks. That comes from Natasha Kaneva, head of global commodities strategy. If JP Morgan's gold forecast plays out, the Spider Gold Trust could climb another 10% by year end and gain up to 20% more through mid 2026, tracking bullion's surge towards 4,000. Meanwhile, the oil prices are likely to stay subdued due to growing supply surplus. Kaneva said that JP Morgan sees Brent crude trading in the low to mid 60s per barrel through the end of the year, barring a severe Middle East escalation. They also go on to say JP Morgan remains bearish on the U.S. dollar amid shifting global dynamics. Quote, the main anchors of our bearish USD view remain unchanged. That was from Mira Candon, co-head of the global FX strategy. I think it's Chandon. Chandon pointed to fading U.S. growth exceptionalism, expensive valuations, and a buildup of liabilities relative to the rest of the world. Now, the growth exceptionalism, this might be a point of contention here. So we'll see who ends up being right about that one. They're calling for more growth posted. I think Besant was the one that said that most recently. Several key conditions seem to define the onset of a USD bear cycle, plus past experience indicates that once inflated, dollar bear cycles can persist for a while. This environment supports emerging market currencies, which are expected to outperform in the second half. So this is basically JPM's thought on a bunch of different things. My question is, I still think that there's going to be a trade in the financials. And I know Goldman Sachs, we were just talking about JPM because they're making all of these calls. Look at the Goldman Sachs move. Very, very similar, right? In fact, I think if we draw a trend line, you're going to get similar performance. This is a little bit steeper of a trend line, but we did the same thing where we tested this, broke, and then we really, really ran. So I guess the easiest way to summarize this is with the banks or some of the quality banks making big moves recently, what's the next trade here? Is this something where we're going to see more upside, or are we going to see a pretty substantial pullback? I'll also bring this back to what Lion was saying. If we see a correction in the market, are financials something that we should be looking at for the long term on a dip? Obviously we talk about tech every day here. It seems like we've got kind of a younger, maybe I shouldn't even say that, a more technology inclined audience here. So to me, it's no surprise that tech is one of the popular topics here every single day. I don't expect that to go anywhere, but I'm also trying to figure out what other sectors and what other names might be good ads if we do get some type of correction, or if we trade into a tradable support level. Where are we going to deploy cash? And financials is definitely one that I've been late on. I'd love for the group to share any information that you have in this. We do have one banker that joins us in happy hour. He does give some good insight, but I'd like to add more of a financial angle to my portfolio, especially for maybe longer term trades, whether they be investments or swing trades. And I know that we talk with Tim Melvin about a lot of the smaller banks. What I'm trying to focus on here is what of the bigger financial institutions might make pretty good trades for us. My experience over my career in trading is that Goldman Sachs, if you can hook Goldman Sachs at a good entry, if you buy the stock, you might never sell it. And if you buy options, you might make a damn fortune on that. So again, would love to know, would love to kind of get better at this myself, would love to add some of this to my own trading and my own portfolio. So I figured I'd mention it here. Okay, the next thing that I want to cover, okay, you know what? We're less than a minute until we get this data, so maybe we should just hang out for that. S&P futures ticking higher here. Looks like that data is out. Let me find my right workspace. There we are. Okay, non-farm payrolls for June, 147 versus the 111 estimate. That's higher. Unemployment rate for June, 4.1 versus the 4.3 estimate. So that's a little light there. Average hourly earnings month over month for June, 0.2 versus the 0.3 estimate. That number's a little light. U.S. trade balance for May, minus 71.5 billion versus the minus 69.9 billion. And U.S. initial jobless claims, 233K versus the 240K estimate. S&P futures acting good. I guess I shouldn't say that. S&P futures trading higher on the back of that news, now up by 0.25%. So looks like the high print that we put there was 62.95. We've pulled back here to 62.89. But we seem to be holding higher here by about 0.25%. So do we hold this move? Does this turn around? What should we expect for that? Special K says, I'm tech savvy and 60 years young. So really quick, Special K, I caught myself when I said that. It's not necessarily a younger group. I'm 41, by the way. So it's not as if I'm, some spring chicken here. I caught myself. I've actually met plenty of people, some that are older than me, that are even more technically inclined than me. Nonetheless, though, let me know what you think here on this move. We have actually started to trade a little bit higher now. S&P futures, 622.82 on the SPY was our high print there. But there we go. Dollar rip. SPY a little bit of a pop above the VWAP. That's a good call there. The S&P futures were pretty much riding the VWAP. They've now busted through the top standard deviation resistance band there, but that's okay. We'll see. Again, we'll see how this settles. Izzy, good morning. It's good to see you. You had said buy fintechs on pullbacks. Okay, so just to clarify here, are you less of a fan of the big financial institutions and more of a fan of the fintech companies? So maybe a technology finance blend in there. Let me know if you would prefer that. I'm still looking for some of the big banks. Jonathan also mentioning the TLT is trading down. Billy said, I started buying stocks in 1981. No wonder, man. That is awesome. What do you like, Billy? Just out of curiosity, what do you like for the second half of 2025? And really anyone can answer that question, but I figured I'd make an example out of Billy. Jane says, I'm old and not tech savvy, but that's by choice. Your experience, Jane, your experience. And look, again, just as I was mentioning the Special K, as soon as I said that, I caught myself. Okay, let's go back to the chart here. I do want to bring up Tesla because I want to discuss just kind of the reaction and the fallout from the delivery numbers yesterday. We talked about it when we got those delivery numbers. We literally watched Tesla spike. I think it was like 20 points or so, or close to 20 points. We then talked about this on Happy Hour. Again, the question is how could Tesla trade up when the delivery number didn't hit expectations? And I want to show you exactly why that's the case here. Let's go back to the Tesla story that I have. Tesla stock surges 5% as the Q2 deliveries, quote, better than feared, end quote. And that's exactly the case here. There was an official estimate that they were pretty much in line with. They were slightly lower, but they were pretty much in line with. The reason the stock traded higher is because the sentiment, the belief was so negative on Tesla that, again, this kind of comes down to the bar being really, really low. A lot of these estimates were that the bar was so low, it was not going to get hit, and thus the stock was going to trade lower. When that didn't happen, the inverse happened. The stock traded higher. What happened? Tesla delivered 384,122 vehicles in Q2, with the majority of the number coming from the Tesla Model 3 and the Model Y, according to a press release from the company on Wednesday. Now, Gary Black here, who we've talked about a lot, he's been good with these. There's no shade here. In fact, the last delivery, Gary Black was probably the closest in terms of the prediction here. Tesla reported Q2 deliveries of 384K, which is minus 14% year over year, or roughly in line with Wall Street consensus. This was much better than feared. The low estimates of 355 to 360, which we indicated yesterday is likely to be a buy the news event. So again, the official estimate, it was about in line with the official estimate, but really what this came down to is that the sentiment here was just so poor. It was higher than people had expected. Veteran investor Gary Black explained in a post on social media platform X on Wednesday what could have driven Tesla's better than estimated performance. Quote, Tesla now plus 4.3% on better than feared Q2 deliveries. I like that. Better than feared versus better than estimated. That's something I'll note. Black added that Tesla beat the 370K estimate predicted by him. Quote, Q2 was better than expected, led by a refreshed Model Y deliveries and strong quarter-end China deliveries. The investor noted that the strong delivery figures could lead to positive revisions to the company's 2025 delivery estimates, quote, especially with the planned elimination of the $7,500 EV credit in Trump's tax and spending bill, end quote. I like this tweet here because on the surface, this might seem like sour grapes, but honestly, he deserves credit for this. So I'm going to go ahead and read this tweet. Tesla now 4.3% on the better than feared Q2 deliveries. If one just reads the headlines, one would think Tesla missed. And this is the key point. This is the key point that I think some people didn't understand when they saw the reaction yesterday. I'm doing way too much clicking. What are you doing, Ryan? What are you doing? Versus my 370K estimate. And this is what I appreciated. He threw this in here. My estimate was higher than most on X. So despite this doing better than the estimate, Gary's estimate was not as low as some of the, oh my God, Tesla's going to zero crowd had out there. So shout out to him because, like I said, he has a really good track record. You can't just fault someone for being wrong on one data print. You have to look at the entire thing. Gary Black's done a really good job at that. Q2 was better than expected, led by refreshed Model Y. We already talked about that. Stock surge led by the figures could provide relief to Tesla, which has been grappling with poor sales in markets like Sweden and Norway, where sales were declined more than 60%. Tesla's Canadian auto sales also took a hit, with some researchers suggesting that the EV giant sales are, quote, close to zero in the country, end quote. The declining sales could be attributed to Musk's right-wing political views and association with Trump, the boogeyman. Interestingly, Musk said to oversee Tesla sales in US and Europe himself after close aide Ahmed Ashfar departure from Tesla, with Senior Vice President Tom Zhu said to oversee global production operations. So that's basically the news here on Tesla. Really, what this comes back down to is, where do we go from here? I gotta say, given the delivery numbers out of the way here, something that was generating a lot of concern for market participants, I think we're actually in a pretty good spot here, to be quite honest with you. We are above the 200-day. In fact, we just recaptured the 200-day. This candle kind of looks like a hammer. We talked with 13 yesterday, and when we get him back here today, I'll ask him to confirm this because I don't follow this, but apparently this 3-candle formation is the abandoned baby formation. Now, I don't know. I chuckle because that's the dumbest name for a candle formation that I've ever heard, but I think that's what it is. And if I recall correctly, all of that magical stuff is bullish. Now, my own interpretation of this chart is, okay, well, we're sitting right at this 319.67. We're sitting right at this 20-day. We've just recaptured the 50-day. We're actually technically right now, we just recaptured the 200-day. We're technically right now above the 50-day. To my eye here, it sure looks like Tesla wants to trade up and test this trend line up at about 340. And then don't forget, we still have the easy to identify, if I do say so myself, 350 to 360 resistance area on Tesla. So 340 and then a bigger resistance chunk there at 350 to 360. Those are going to be your next upside targets. I think you can definitely lean on the moving averages to the downside here. So whatever and then the other thing that we've talked about here, there is a growing thought that future Tesla revenue and numbers is going to be largely driven by robots, not necessarily EV cars. And so if that ends up being true, a lot of this demand that's terrible in all of these other countries, that ain't going to mean diddly squat. So we'll see how this ends up shaking out here. I actually like the spot that Tesla's at right now, but you tell me. You tell me. Pete says, as dumb as the big, beautiful bill. Pete, I am entirely unsurprised that you want to see the biggest tax increase in Americans in history. That doesn't surprise me at all. Let me know what you think, though, on Tesla as a potential trade there. Okay. Next piece of news that we have here, OpenAI says tokens are not equity. No partnership with Robinhood. So we talked a little bit about this the other day, but looks like this is kicking up a little bit more here. OpenAI publicly stated on Wednesday that the so-called OpenAI tokens offered by Robinhood markets are not OpenAI equity, and clarified it has no partnership or involvement with Robinhood regarding the product. OpenAI's newsroom said in a post on X that any transfer of its equity requires company approval, which is not granted in this case, and he advises users to be cautious. These OpenAI tokens are not OpenAI equity. We did not partner with Robinhood. We're not involved in this, and we do not endorse it. I struggle to think of something that's a little bit more that's like, hey, pump the brakes on this. This ain't good. Any transfer of its OpenAI equity requires our approval, and we did not approve any transfer, so please be careful. Let me ask you, we talked a little bit about the tokens yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it the day before? I can't. The days are starting to blend together here. I'm sorry about that. Does this change your mind at all? Are you folks less inclined to buy these tokens? My initial thought when we read this story was that I would rather just own the stock, not some of these tokens, but we'll see how it shakes out here. Let me know what you folks think on this. Robinhood announced the launch of the tokenized shares on Monday. It was Monday, as part of a broader initiative around tokenized equities, staking, and blockchain infrastructure. Quote, these tokens give retail investors indirect exposure to private markets, opening up access, and are enabled by Robinhood's ownership stake in a special purpose vehicle, end quote. That comes from a Robinhood spokesperson in response to the OpenAI post. And I guess that was reported by CNBC here this morning, although I didn't see it. Elon Musk, an original co-founder of OpenAI, has openly feuded with CEO Sam Altman. It's funny when billionaires fight each other, to be quite honest with you. I at least get a kick out of that. Quote, your equity is fake. End quote. I guess if I was quoting that properly, Elon Musk said, quote, your quote equity, end quote, is fake. There you go. Robinhood shares hit a new all-time high on Wednesday. What was interesting about that, we talked about Robinhood. Our group had this thing effing pegged. Pardon my language here, but we had this thing pegged. That breakout up to 100, man, we printed 188 yesterday as the high. Immediately came back in. We're actually sitting at 95 here today. So it sure looks like that move up to 100 was the top side that we turned around at. KeyBank Capital Markets on Monday increased its price target from the stock to 110 from 60, maintaining an overweight rating. KeyBank analysts called Robinhood's, quote, first rate innovation and TAM expansion as the primary drivers for the upgrade. So this one really gets me here. This TAM expansion, anytime that there's a legitimate thought that the total addressable market is going to increase by a vast margin, you're likely to see the stocks react to that. And frankly, it doesn't matter if it's a bigger stock like Robinhood or Apple or a smaller stock like some of the small cap kind of junky runners that we see. This is a big one. And if that's legitimate, giddy up, those stocks are going to go higher. So Robinhood, let's actually take a look at Robinhood. Let's go back to the actual chart here real quick. Pull up Robinhood. This was another one that we discussed yesterday in happy hour. I had people give me thoughts on potential targets here. I believe Bigga Bees, I believe that you were saying yesterday, I think if I recall correctly, 110. I think you had, I think you gave three targets there. The only one I'm able to remember right now, unfortunately, is 110. And I think the point here is that while we all kind of think, yo, this is extended RSI, it's like more than twice the price of the 200-day moving average. Like this thing's really, really extended. That makes a lot of sense. It can still push higher from here. Wouldn't even be surprised really if it kind of took a break now that it tested 100. Doesn't break down, maybe we get one more shot and that peak above 100, 110, probably that level up there. Big B's, if you're out there and if you're free, let me know what the other targets you had were. I think there were 3 in there, and the only one that I can remember is 110. Let me know what you think on that. We'll see here on Hood. If any of you took this regression back to the mean move, you got 5 points from the $100 high yesterday. So let me know where we're at on that. Okay, next one here. Oh, yeah. And this is the other thing that I wanted to show you. Then we can start taking a look at tickers. What time is it? Oh, 8:45. Oh, dude, this was perfect. We're going to have 13 here pretty soon. Get those tickers ready. We're going to take a look at a lot of stocks here today. But I did want to share this with you. Chris Catchy, one of our writers here, does an awesome job recapping what Benzinga Pro users search both every month and then also in quarters and in the first half. So here's an exclusive story by Chris. The 2025's first half most search tickers on Benzinga Pro. And I would be willing to guess that if we polled you all, you'd get at least 80% of these. Really, the important thing is in what order is it in? Let's observe that. Number 1, the number 1 most searched ticker in Benzinga Pro. This, no surprise to me, SPY. I do this all the time. Really quickly here, just as a reminder for everyone, SPY is a great way to filter your news feed in Pro. If you filter for just the ticker SPY, you're going to get a lot of the data prints and big market moving news. And so pulling up charts for that makes a lot of sense. I'm unsurprised to see this. Number 2 is Tesla, and number 3 is Nvidia. And if you had asked me to guess the order prior to this, I would have flipped these. I would have put Nvidia too, because I just feel like there was so much talk about tariffs and chips and restrictions in China, and oh my God, that Nvidia probably would have led that. But it appears Tesla led that there. So Tesla, Nvidia, Palantir, no surprise to see Palantir here. This has been really, really incredible. By the way, should we ever do a moment of silence for the clowns that would come into the show here and tell us every day to short Palantir back from when it was $30? Should we pour one for the homies? Should we do something in their remembrance, because they're no longer around? It's going to be quiet for them for a long time. Just unbelievable stuff there. Hims, right? That, I guess, should surprise nobody. UNH. So that big move down in UNH there, I mean, without that, there's no way this is on there. That big move down in UNH gave a lot of trading opportunities. Love to see the amount of people in our group here that ended up making money off that. I got to say, looking back now, I know hindsight's 2020, but looking back now, I didn't make enough on this move. I think I only made a couple $1,000s total, and that was with some wins and some losses and some short-dated options. This should have been at least 5 figures for me, and it wasn't. Shout out to some of you that made the 6 figures, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, I look back on United Health, and I'm disappointed in how I traded that. I should have done that a little bit more, honestly. CoreWeave on the list. SMCI on the list. AMD on the list. And I think the big surprise here, this is one that I would not have guessed, honestly. Oklo on the list here. Now, there has been a lot of talk about the nuclear stuff, the data centers, all of that. So I get the theme here. But if we look at the honorable mentions, which is basically 11 through 20, we don't see any of those other nuke stocks in there. I don't see SMR in here. Did I miss it? No, I don't see SMR in here. I don't see NNE in here. I see Oklo. So one of the things that this tells me going forward here is that if we're going to look at any of these nuke stocks, the ones that are going to be without a doubt more closely followed or have more volume or perhaps have more movement or be even more, just more tradable, I think it's OKLO. And I think we can determine that from this list here. If anyone, I know Anne Marie often asks for these. So if anyone wants this, here is the link to that article. You can go ahead and have that there. Big B's, can the producer put a link to that article in the chat? The host can do that too. Yes, we will absolutely share these. And by the way, if I'm ever running through any of these news stories or articles and you want them for any reason and I don't post them, just make a scene. Yell at us. Let us know. Me, producer, whatever. Let us know. Let us know. Okay. Let's see. Is it time? Oh, it is that time. Let me go back to the chart here real quick. And let's welcome on 13 and see how he's doing here this morning. 13, good morning. How are you, boss?
I'm doing all right. Kind of an interesting morning we're having here with the top things that are moving just kind of being IPOs. I expect that we'll have a bit of a volatile day. How about you?
I do. We've already got some of the data prints out of the way here. We are expecting, of course, the non-farm payrolls and the initial jobless claims at 8:30. We got that, as well as the average hourly earnings there and the imports and stuff. But we're also expecting global services PMI and the ISM services PMI a little bit later. So I think what's interesting about this, and if that wasn't enough, by the way, Fed's Bostic is speaking here today too. We have a half day, market closes at 1. We've got a whole bunch of data, and then we have a closure tomorrow as well. I think not only might this morning be volatile, 13, I think it might be short-lived, but I think it might be volatile. I think the real stuff, if you will, is coming next week.
All right. I'm here for it. Yeah, especially with that July 9th deadline looming.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. Okay, what do you want to do here first? Do you want to do some of those movers? Is there any other chart you want to take a look at? I mean, we got oceans of time. We got 40 minutes before we open today. We normally don't have that much time, so we can pretty much do anything here today.
Good, because the movers list is, it's something. And it's two of the top three, names that I was looking at here this morning are both IPOs that came out yesterday. So I don't know what, I'd love to hear about other tickers we could look at, because maybe those will trade better than some of these. I'm not sure what we're going to get out of some of these names today, but I'm optimistic.
Okay. Should we? I'm just going to start at the top of the list and go down, or is there one in particular you wanted to start with?
No, we can start with Gibbs. That's actually not one of the IPOs, but we can go ahead and go over this.
Okay, let's take it. So GITS here. So this stock, I guess it did have some movement in the pre-market yesterday. This is about $1.50 yesterday. This popped above 7. Why can't Ondas do this one morning and just reward all of us so we can all have a good time? Anyway, GITS, this popped above 7 here this morning. Take a look at the news. I don't really see anything here at all. I don't see anything fresh here.
It's the Form 8.
But that was from yesterday morning.
Uh-huh.
CEO ousting, leadership changes. So what's going on here with this, and why are there delayed reaction? I know I'm asking you the tough questions. You know what I mean? I know. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, this is just one of the things that I was looking at today, and it's just like, okay, well, I guess that's a thing. But that's about the most recent news we had that was providing any sort of movement here. Company had an 8K filing. There's a number of things happening here from, I think there's like a recompliance here. Let me just pull it up here so I can tell you. But there's a financial issue with this company. They don't have enough money. There's some characterizations that have been made regarding the president of the company. They sold a subsidiary to raise capital to no avail. There's some concerning things happening here with this company. I looked at their financial. Their balance sheet, no cash. Look at their income statement, no revenue. It's not looking good. So
So who's ready to buy this stock up 150%?
So I think now is the time to buy. No, I'm just kidding. But this moved just started popping out of nowhere as soon as the pre-market opened, and all it has done since then is just trickle down back to the starting point. And it looks like it might be trying to turn around. Maybe there's a trade in here somewhere because, hey, some people might think it's cheap, but I don't know about this one. This is one of many question marks I think we'll have this morning. It is trading beneath the 65 EMA and the VWAP as we approach the open here, but it does look like it's trying to turn around. This is a South Korean company, so it's a foreign entity here. I would say that if we do start trading back up, we're going to be looking at 450 as a resistance area, and that's just before the VWAP. We get through both of those levels, we might see some better price action here, but I don't think there's anything fundamental about these moves we're seeing. This company looks like it's in some serious financial trouble, and there could be a capital raise coming.
Okay, yeah, not great here. Formerly,
no debt. Yeah, no debt too.
Hanryu Holdings, formerly. Yeah. Okay. This to me is a state, just to kind of reiterate one of the things that you had said yesterday about not going into your weekend, ruining your weekend, this, that, and the other. I feel like this one could definitely be that. We'll watch this. We'll watch the technicals just to make sure this doesn't flash some sort of buy signal. But man, oh man, at least from what we've kind of uncovered here, doesn't look great. Doesn't look like a great play here on GITS.
Doesn't look like it to me either.
Okay, CMND is next on the list. This has a catalyst and is breaking higher as we speak. It looks like Jacob earlier was on this. Good morning, Jacob. It's great to see you here. If there was anyone else that mentioned this and I missed it, I'm sorry about that. We'll go back in there and check it out. Mama Bear, we will also take a look at MINM. Anyway, CMND here. This is Clearmind. We've talked a lot about this one. This is a penny stock that is now dashing into dollar territory as it's trading up nearly 60%. Clearmind medicine shares have traded higher, are trading higher following the company's announced IRB approval for its phase 1/2A clinical trial for alcohol use disorder at Tel Aviv Swirsky Medical Center. So it looks like this is one of their trials to help treat alcohol abuse or alcohol use disorder. So on the surface there, that sounds good. Stock's popping here. Real quick, let me see if there was anything else. I'm sure you've got it there, 13. I'm sure you've dug in here, but real quick.
Well, no, I haven't, because this was just starting.
Oh, that's right. No,
moving.
You're right.
Just started moving.
So AUD is alcohol use disorder. They're going to abbreviate that. I'll take a look at the PR here when I get a sec. But first, quick look around the horn here. 2.39% of the float shorted, and that is, oh, come on. You have to click the right thing, dude. That comes on 1 day to cover, and that comes on 246,000 shares of average volume. Pretty paltry, if you ask me, 13. Today, we've traded 6.6 million, so you should be fine here today. The float's 5.2. So what do you think, 13?
I think this is something we've been discussing. Alcohol, disorder treatment. We had this conversation last year when we were talking about RFK being part of the what's his title? The Secretary of I'm sorry,
Health and Human Services.
Yes, that's it. So that was something that he was advocating. We looked at NVO as because they have a program that revolves around this. Now, as far as how this could trade today, I do see that we have the 200 EMA at 156, 157, right up in there. We almost hit that just now in the pre-market, but I would be looking at that level as one of the earlier resistance levels. We get through that, and then we have areas up in the 2 handle that are going to provide resistance. So this could end up being a much better mover than some of these other ones that I'm not sure about this morning. I haven't looked into this, admittedly, so don't know how great these phase 1/2A clinical trials are, or how many others trials they have going on. If this is the only thing in the pipeline, what have you. Let's take a look at their cash, though. Let's see what we can get from that. So it looks like they, of course, don't have revenue, as most biotechs don't, but it's not really losing a whole lot of money. It looks like about $1 million or less, and they have a good amount of cash on the balance sheet. So to me, it looks like they at least could be fine for anywhere from half a year to a year. Likely going to have to raise capital at some point, but I don't think that's going to happen today. So this might be one of the better ones that we could get a trade out of. I just think we need to just let it set up, because we just had that first initial impulse move up, and we're coming back down. Looks like we're getting support from VWAP. So let's see if that holds, and we can start looking at some of these other upside levels. I have that 156, that 200 EMA on the daily. That's one. Another one's going to be about 215, then 230, and then 3.
Okay, good stuff there. One thing to keep in mind. So first of all, we've seen with some of like these Clearmind or the psychedelics or some of the pot stocks, like they can run in small isolated instances. And I think today is no different. I think you're absolutely right here. You did a really good job outlining all of the stuff, all of the negative headwinds, but it could still move here today. We've actually seen that before. Sure. So we should at least account for that here. Sweet One mentioning that this is down 99.8% in 5 years, caveat emptor. Here's a look at the chart. Don't be fooled. When you see stuff like this, if you end up trading it and you get any type of gain on it, just don't be afraid to take gains, even if they're not huge. Just don't get trapped. Don't lose on something that's clearly not great. That being said, it's in play here today, 13.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next, and yes. So CNC added to the list so far for stocks that you folks want to take a look at when we crush this movers list. So far, I've got Datadog, which is trading up here today, I believe, on the back of earnings. AEHR. Which has earnings, I think, in a few days, has been a stock that we've traded here before, and actually been the last earnings report. I traded this for earnings. I traded calls on it, and it worked. And then CNC. Which is Centrine, that got absolutely destroyed yesterday. I think you're looking for a bounce. We'll see here. Those three stocks added to the list. We should have plenty of time. Now, moving on here real quick. CV. This is Capso Vision. This is one of the IPOs from yesterday. So someone was asking about this one, and unfortunately, I didn't have anything on it. We had an initial pop there. We had really kind of a boring rest of the session. And this morning, we got a pop that moved us from 364 to 12. Now, it immediately retraced in the same 5-minute candle right back down to 6. So these prices up here, just a bunch of air, not real. But there was some volume pop in here. Maybe this gets rolling here again. Now, 13, I know this is a fresh IPO, so there's not a whole lot that we have here. Let's say we got a Form 424B4 here today. I didn't go through this. We're offering 5.5 million shares of common stock. Stock's still up 41%. Obviously, I don't have a short interest reading. I don't really have anything on this. So 13, I think it's just going to be technicals. What do you think here on CV?
Well, I don't have a whole lot of data.
Yeah.
So nothing financial. As far as the technicals go, we are beneath VWAP, so going to need to recapture that. Looking at it right now, it seems to me like this is going to continue to go lower. We have another support area that it's coming down to right now at about 480. Lose that, I think we're going to be hitting some of these larger EMAs on the 5-minute, the 65 and the 200. The absolute lowest it looks like this stock has gone so far is about 350. So maybe there's some support down there if we just kind of go all the way back to the starting point. But beneath the EMAs, it also looks like 420, maybe 415, 420. That could be an area where you might find some more support as well. But other than that, don't have enough information on this company to really know what we're going to get. But not really liking the way it's looking so far. So I would need to see a clear sign of bottoming and maybe some sideways action and a reversal. Because right now, MACD is still telling me that there could be some more downside to go.
Okay. My view on this is actually pretty simple. I'm basically just looking at the chart. I don't think I have enough information to make an assumption based on anything else. So what I'd be looking at here, trade this against 480. That's going to be a downside pre-market area, the sideways area that it's held so far. A break above that 578. Maybe we try some of these higher levels here, but that's basically it, right? This pre-market 475 area right up to 578. That gives you that dollar range. Maybe we break above that. I'll probably look elsewhere than trading this one. Did anyone look into what this company does when we talked about it briefly yesterday?
Yeah. This was the gastrointestinal
yeah, that's right.
camera, sort of thing. I don't know I want to say it's some
the
kind
company's
of
core technology platform is an orally ingestible capsule, including multiple cameras facilitating a 360-degree imaging, light-emitting diodes for measurement, onboard memory, storage, and battery life, permitting recording and onboarding storage of video images. You swallow a pill that's got a bunch of cameras in it. That sounds terrible.
That looks cool. That probably looks really cool in the dark, too.
Oh, doctor. They make anus Polaroids. We got to get off this stock as soon as possible here. CV, IPO from yesterday. Maybe this goes here today. Be careful with it. Okay.
I would just say this. I don't think I'd be interested in trading this until we recaptured VWAP. That would be a good sign for me. So let's see what happens with that.
Okay, here we go. Next one here is going to be EMPG, and this too yesterday IPOing.
There it is.
5.5 million IPO, open for trade at 426. The IPO was priced at 4. They had 1.375 million shares in that offering here. Stock is up 37% here in the morning, and it looks very similar to CV here. We popped initially, came all the way back in. We're just holding this area. So same deal here.
Same deal on every front. Beneath VWAP, needs to recapture it. Hasn't seen a clear sign of bottoming yet, although it does look like we are starting to curl here. I don't think I'd be interested in trading this until this one gets back over VWAP. So 2 now. Just was like I was saying earlier, this morning, the movers are just these IPOs that I don't have a whole lot of data on. So it's going to have to go with what I know. I don't really like this until it recaptures VWAP.
Okay. Kevin, you have the quote of the day here. Now, I recognize that it's only 9 o'clock in the morning and we have a huge portion of the day left, but this is so far the quote of the day. I'm going to eat those cams. I'm missing a Hot Wheels car from 1975, and we're going to find it. Oh, Kevin, at least you have a sense of humor about things here. That is awesome. That is your comment of the day. Okay, EMPG, we'll see if we get a technical move here again. Let's see if we can cross above VWAP. Same deal as CV there. Next is going to be NIN. I already screwed it up, 13. It did not take long. MINM. This is FIEE is the name. FI, whatever. At this point, this thing was about 270 yesterday. Looks like we ran into a triple top right up here about 465 ish. We take a look at the news. What's driving this one? Yesterday, after hours here, shares are trading higher after the company entered into an asset purchase agreement with Suzhou Yingchong, whatever, to acquire intellectual property and fixed assets for 1.4 million. So it's not a takeover, but it is an asset purchase agreement for 1.4 million that apparently sent this stock wild. We're holding plus 33% here. Quick look around the horn on this one. 1.37% of the float shorted on 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 281K. Today we've traded 22.5 million. What do you think on this one? At least it's not an IPO.
Yeah, I guess there's that. So let's see. I'm just looking at the Form 8, which has this information you were talking about regarding the agreement. Entered into an asset purchase with. Okay, so this is what you're reading here. Total purchase price 1.4 million. How much money do they have? So that's helpful because they
didn't have anything.
They needed it. Now, I guess the other question I would have: when does that transaction close? Because that's going to tell us how soon they get that money. So closed on June 30th. Okay, so they're already past that. So money could be in the bank at this point. That's great news. So
that probably takes the offering today off the table.
Oh, there's an offering out there too?
No. I'm saying that probably takes I'm sorry for not being clear.
Okay.
That takes a potential offering news off the table, doesn't it?
I would say it makes it much less likely. I don't want to completely say they won't do it. We've seen plenty of instances where a company looks like they're in a good financial position. They still raise capital anyway. So to me, it looks like this is just, in the echelon of we're not going to need to raise capital at any time soon. We're fine for now. So I don't think that's going to, hamper all the upside they've been trying to get lately. I think this will be one of the better things that we can trade. Now, as far as what we're looking at right now, we just lost the 65 EMA on the 5 minute. We are trading beneath VWAP. We are coming down to the 200 EMA. Hopefully we get some kind of support there, because if not, then we're likely going back down to 3, maybe even lower. Did like that we tried to get over the 460 resistance area that I have here. That resulted in a triple top, unfortunately. So I guess the next best thing we can hope for here is just to try and take out 460 again. But we need to recapture VWAP. So this is another one I'd be waiting for the open.
Okay, there you go. We are actually currently moving to the low end of the pre-market range here. So really good stuff on that. Next one I have on the list, THTX. Is this a buyout?
Is it?
Yes. Reported earlier, Tetra Technologies enters definitive agreement to be acquired by CB Biotech for $301 a share. Current price is $316. No trade on this one. Okay, so this is taken out. Congrats if you have this. It's up 80 cents. Not a huge premium paid, but this is an easy one to get off of our list there. Was there anything you wanted to say about this, or?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Next that I have here, AEBI. Now this one I didn't even look at here today. AB Schmidt shares are trading higher after making its NASDAQ debut following its merger with, is that? Okay,
so
shift. I misread that. That's SHYFT.
Well, you might be reading it correctly, just cryptically.
I thought it was SHYTT, and I was like, am I getting trolled here? Am I literally about to say a curse word because of the name of this company? But it's Shift Group with a Y. Okay, so this stock moved, good Lord, this stock moved from 11 to 20 in the after hours, came all the way back in and is holding right here at about 1350. Let's see if what kind of, I've never pulled this ticker up in my life. No short interest to note. This is basically a new issue here. What do you think, 13? Yeah, new issue yesterday.
I guess my question would be: Is this a SPAC, or was this a regular IPO? Usually when you see a merger, it's typically a SPAC. I just don't know. But let's see here, because I'm looking to see what this company does. It's kind of vague, but the portfolio consists of product brands AB, Schmidt, Nido, Arctic, Monroe, Towmaster, Swenson, Mayer, ELP, and Le Dog. These all sound like kind of names.
Sounds made up, to be quite honest with you. Just going to throw that out there. Sounds a bit made up.
Well, I was going to say they sound like machinery names. Looks like they are. I'm just looking at their website now. Oh, it looks like they plow snow too. Give me 1 second here.
Yep, no problem. I'm going to move on. I think this is a nothing. I don't think there's really anything. I mean, we'll see on technicals. I'm going to move on here. I don't think there's anything really.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know what to make of this, but maybe we'll learn more as the market opens.
Okay, here we go. Mira Pharmaceuticals. Don't be fooled, folks. Mira Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company reported clinical data for Mira 55. Additionally, the company announced it's making advancements regarding its SKNY acquisition. This popped to about 2 earlier. It's done nothing but bleed since yesterday's after hours. We're totally coming in the after hours. We're coming in again here in the pre-market. Quick look around the horn on Mira, which we've traded before. 1.18% of the float shorted here, and that's on 1.03 days to cover. That comes on 1.47 million shares of volume. Today we've traded 11.3 million, and the float is 13 million. So 13, you got anything here on Mira?
Just a trend line that I'd like to see broken. That's the first thing that jumps out at me. It's been a nice steady decline ever since yesterday. Man, I don't know what has gotten into my lungs, but I
was going to say, you need a drink or something? We can take a sip.
I don't need a drink. I just need to, not inhale whatever I drink, apparently. Anyway, this another drug company, similar to the one that we were talking about earlier. Was it MindMed, or what was that one that had the alcohol news? I'm sorry.
From this morning?
Yeah, was it MINM?
No, I believe it was CMND.
Clear Mind. Yeah. So the second one now in that same wheelhouse. Let's see here. Still need this could be a capital raise. I don't know if they've done that or if they've got that filed, but looking at the amount of cash they have on hand versus what they burn in a quarter, looks to me like they are going to need to raise some kind of capital here. And if they do one of those kinds of offerings that are at the price, then that would be they'd have to do it soon. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
Yeah, but, look. This one's easy. Stay away from this one. If we break this upside trend line, maybe we get it. Stay away from this one. The move's already happened. It's been in kind of a disappointment. If it changes, it changes. So far,
yeah. I mean, that's kind of been like what we're looking at with a lot of these. Is just these are all they've all had the big impulse move, and they're all kind of like trailing down. A lot of these we're just gonna have to wait and see what they do at the open.
Okay, next one here might be a little bit better. This is SBET, and I know a number of you asked to take a look at this. We knew this one was coming. This is SharpLink Gaming. This is up another 12.5% after having a massive day on volume yesterday. Stock went from 940 to 1240 just in the middle of the day on really, really good volume. Seeing a little bit of continuation here today. Now, did we have anything on this one?
I remember this one.
Yeah, so this is yesterday morning. We had, this is today. Good Lord, Ryan, get it together. SharpLink Gaming to ring the NASDAQ closing bell on July 7th, celebrating the Ethereum Treasury milestone. So we also got some Form 4s here. It looks like those Those are just grants. I'm not really sure there's anything to take away from this. Stock's up 12.8% here. It does look like we kind of tried to break out from 14 earlier. I actually like the chart. The pulls back down really didn't. What's that?
Do you though? Look at the daily. Do you like it?
No, sorry. Let me finish. I really do like this 5-minute chart here because I do like the move that we've had. This should tell us whether or not we're going to have a trade here. We had a nice little impulse move. We pulled back to the 65 EMA. We did not break down from that. We tried to break the top. We couldn't. So far, though, we're holding above VWAP. A lot of the time when we see some of these stocks move to a top end of the range and it is unable to work, it just takes a crap, for lack of a better word, and keeps trading down. Well, we're not seeing that here with SBET. So until we see that, I think this one might set up. And look at what happened yesterday. It was all about the volume, baby. All about the volume. As soon as that volume came in, this thing traded north. We look for the same thing here today. Now, I was not trying to poo-poo you and your thoughts there, 13. Here is your daily chart. We saw this huge spike. Was this a split-adjusted spike? No, this just went crazy several days in a row. So here's your daily chart. So all of that really kind of came back out. Now we're butting up against the 15 EMA. So quick look at the short interest here. 8.34% of the float shorted. That came way in from that huge print that it had before. 1 day to cover, and that comes on 6.14 million shares of average volume. We've traded that here today. The float on this one is big at 66 million. So 13, what do you think here on SBET?
Well, I don't remember the exact reason, but this thing went on a rampage. Just crazy levels of movement. I remember when we traded this, and we had a pretty good time with it. But here we are, approaching what is going to be a gap, and that could be as soon as we're going to see that gap fill as soon as we get above the 500-day SMA, which is 1430. I think it actually starts just 5 cents before that. The highest print that I have goes back to prior to today, goes back to June 16th. That was 1425. So just 5 cents shy of the 500-day SMA, and then we're in gap fill territory all the way up to $30. About maybe 27 and change, but pretty close to $30. I don't want to make any promises that this is going to do exactly that, but there is a gap, and I'm not going to ignore it. So I think that if we start to get above 1430, we could see some pretty interesting price action. I think this is one that we're going to want to pay attention to, just to see what it does.
Okay. Matthew here is asking concerning SBET, does the BBB hurt gambling? I think it asks gamblers to pay more taxes on their winnings. I think there's a lot of thought about that maybe hurting the gambling business. I don't really think anything's going to hurt the gambling business, to be quite honest with you, but we'll see how it all shakes out here. I don't know that this is going to trade on the bill passage today. I don't know that that's really going to factor in here. Maybe, but I'm skeptical. Okay, 13, did you have anything else that you wanted to take a look at? I know D-Dog is on our list to look at a bigger chart here. We can go ahead and do that. That's also on the movers list. Bull is also on there. We're going to look at both of those.
When we look at D-Dog, I recall reading an interesting article a while back, and I'm not going to spend time looking for it, but they brought up D-Dog and a bunch of other similar names like this. I think J-Frog was one of those. So might want to also take a look at that and some of the peers for Datadog after we break down what's going on with this one.
Okay. Did we talk about MDB, Mongo database, being related to that as well? I can't remember if that was one of the other ones that we've talked about.
I don't know, but if it's on the peers list, then maybe we could. It doesn't seem to be. But I know that JFrog was one of the ones that was mentioned in the article I read. And now that I'm seeing Datadog start to do what the article was saying, thinking that I might need to spend some time looking for that.
Day trader, I was summarizing what the bill does for gambling tax provisions, and I said that it is not going to factor into SBET. Just to be clear. Okay. Datadog. So here's your chart. Datadog shares are trading higher as after it was announced that the company is set to join the S&P 500. Okay, so we had a nice little move above the 200-day. What I liked the most about this is that the interaction around the 200-day was very, very constructive. When we broke through it, we kept grinding higher. Now we get another pop higher. The only problem here is that this pop actually puts us right into a resistance area, a former resistance area that actually led to a pretty big breakdown. Now, I know that there was a lot of other stuff kind of going along when this all happened, but it started back in February and then was, kind of finished off there. That pullback kind of finished off there around the Liberation Day lows. Nonetheless, here though, I think this is a pretty important spot here at 148, 150. So we'll see if we can get above this. 13. I'd love to know what you see here in the chart. Quick look around the horn. 2.44% of the float shorted with 1.65 days to cover. You have no problem here with the volume. The float's huge though because this is a bigger stock. So 13. What do you think here on Datadog?
Looking at the chart here, the price action we've been getting here in the morning doesn't look encouraging. It looks kind of like it's topping out right now, but I think we'll get confirmation of that if we happen to go underneath 146 and start to trail lower. We are trying to hold above VWAP. It looks like we just it looks like we're trying to hold above VWAP. Seems like we're trading just beneath it right now. Beneath that is the 65 EMA, and then we have other levels that we can draw upon for support. And it looks like 146.75 could be another one, followed by 146.50. Those will be the last two lines of support before we could probably even fall further. 200 EMA down at 142.84 for me. I think if we don't recapture VWAP as we approach the open here, this is probably going to end up coming down lower. So this kind of looks, if you look at a 5-minute chart, I think you can kind of see what I'm referring to. It looks a little bit like a head and shoulders, but let's just see what we get toward the open here. We just don't want to lose this VWAP, which we appear to be doing right now.
Okay. Good stuff there on D-Dog. Let's keep rolling here. We only got 9 minutes left. The other one that's what I get for saying that we were going to have plenty of time to cover all the stocks that folks wanted to take a look at. I'm going to be punished there. Next one here was AEHR. This is Air Test Systems. This also pretty awesome looking daily chart. Now, again, one key thing to keep in mind here, we've got earnings in 5 days. So next Tuesday after hours is when this company is going to report earnings. And we've actually seen a run off of the 200-day, which is right down here at 11.5 into this earnings print. So runs into earnings, not been great, not the best, but that's what we're seeing here on AEHR. Now, do we have any other fresh news on this? We did not. And then short interest here on the stock, 23.71% of the float shorted. That's on 6.5 days to cover. This is a squeeze candidate. So we're trading higher here. If we get a really nice beat on this earnings print, I think the stock could absolutely go ham. Could get a multiple day short squeeze here. Some other levels to take a look at here. One of the big ones, this $18 to $19 level. I almost call this 19, but really this handle in here is going to be pretty important. This is where we topped out the last time that we traded this one. I believe this was it. End of 2024 here. We stopped at the exact same spot. I got to see that same spot fall, and lo and behold, your 500-day moving average right there at 19. What do you think on this 13?
I think we spent a lot of time in previous years discussing this because we pretty much talked about this decline that it had from 2023. This was, I'm trying to think of the exact reason for the decline here, but I recall it being on some kind of supply chain issues. I thought that was the problem it was having. And it seems to have normalized now. Really nice to see the support from June of 22 kick in, provide support in April when we had the Liberation Day sell-off. Now we're coming off of that. So, I mean, however you want to look at that kind of bottoming action, it looks like this is, about 650, right around there is where the line in the sand is for this company on two different occasions. Now we're back above the 200-day SMA. We're getting pretty close to a golden cross happening here, probably later this month if the price continues to rise. And then we have I'd say, what is this, about $18 to $19 area. That looks like that's going to be the last area of resistance prior to the 500-day SMA that you just mentioned, and some of the highs it's been making in the past year. So this is, kind of running up into earnings. If it's gonna impress, I think it's gonna have to impress big. But for the purpose of trading this today, I think we'd want to be kind of relying on those highs that we were seeing previously from January and August last year as and the 500-day SMA as upside targets. Once we get up there, I'm not sure what we're going to get today, but we can just kind of trade around that when it happens. I don't know what more to expect from this. I'm not sure about the earnings. Let me look at the financials actually.
Okay, and real quick here, day traders saying 50% fib retracement from its previous high in at 29.78. I'm looking for $30 on this move higher here. Entry 11.75. So you're 4 points in the green already there. Appreciate that, day trader. Okay, did you have anything else here?
It's looking like they stepped out of profitability for a couple quarters. They're trying to come back into it. Maybe this is the earnings that does it. I don't know. I wish I had spent more time on this, but for just the day trading purposes, I think it's just those levels I outlined that I'd be paying attention to. Maybe there's some more I could get out of this as the morning goes on, but for now, I would just look at those levels.
Okay, there you go. AEHR, good stuff there. Okay, next one here is going to be Bull. This is Webull. This is one that we've talked about a lot. I know what's on everyone's mind here is the bottom put in, because it sure looks like we're curling higher here, and I get it. The other thing about this is, yeah, maybe there's some catch up here to Hood or something like that. We'll see here on Webull. This has actually been good over the past couple of sessions. Here's a look at your 15-minute chart. Again, it came in and it really kind of found this bottom around $10. I think this was a pretty safe bottom that's been carved out here. Now we kind of have the rounding bottom formation here. No jokes, please. The last couple of days had actually been pretty good here on Webull. So really my question is going to be, where's the next spot? One of these spots was this 1420 spot. Well, that's gone. We've taken that out now. That's now going to be support if we come back in. That actually goes back to the IPO as well. Looking at this chart here, I got to think there's a little bit of a consolidation here area around 15.5. Otherwise, 16 is the next resistance level that I've got here on Bull. How about you, 13?
Yeah, I like 16. Just looking at the daily chart, which still doesn't have a whole lot of data, but it's got at least a quarter. 16 looks like a pretty standout area based on the price action. Now, one of the good parts about this chart is that we have recaptured the 50-day SMA, but we do have the stock does have the task now of trying to hold above that. We get multiple holds that closes above this this moving average, likely going to get it to go higher. But that $16 level, definitely an area that I'd be looking at for resistance. You do have some topping out in the 18 handle, so if we do get past 16, that would be the next spot I'd be looking at. But I think we definitely just want to see this hold above the 50-day SMA if we're going to look at more upside. As far as the comment on whether or not this is going to do a repeat of Hood, I don't believe Webull is in the same position to offer services that Hood does that generate a lot more revenue. So until that happens, I'm not sure that we're going to see the same moves from Webull, but this also could be a case of, a rising tide lifts all ships. And we are seeing a lot of bullish activity in the financials and fintech lately. So this may end up going on its own run because of that theme, but we've got a couple of levels to watch for. We are getting above the 50-day SMA. It's looking good for now.
Okay, good stuff there. Next is going to be CNC. This is Centene. This is another one of those healthcare stocks you could see here. This thing was trading down 40% yesterday. So I think I know why everyone's asking about this, right? Is there a potential bounce here? We did the same thing when we saw UNH really kind of trade down dramatically and all of that. So this here, Century, this moving, I like this headline here, Century Corporation heads to the emergency room. That's clever there. Okay, so they withdrew their guidance. I think they cited the big beautiful bill. I can't remember if that was directly tied to this, but the big thing here is that they pulled their guidance. That caused the stock to slump. As far as the trade goes, here's the way I'm looking at this. I think you got to treat this just like you treated UNH. Everyone wanted to trade UNH for a bounce from the day it started dropping. And how long did it actually take for UNH to bottom? That feel like we came on this show, look at this. This right here, this move down right here from April 21st, from 420 lol wisdom to May 12th here. I'm sure that this area just absolutely crushed bounce players, because the thought was, well, this moved too far, too fast. It's going to bounce. It's going to bounce. No, it didn't. It continued to hunt a bottom. And we can be patient on that. And I believe that the strategy that I settled on with UNH is, hey, why don't we wait for this thing to confirm a bottom instead of trying to pick the bottom? And so I would apply the exact same thing here to CNC. I would wait for this to confirm a bottom. Now, the RSI is in the toilet. It is down here at 16 because it got absolutely shellacked yesterday. If we look all the way back to 2015 to 2017, we are in a pretty thick consolidation area. I would put the bottom end of this area at 26 and the top end of this area at 36. Our current price here is 34. So actually we're at the higher end of that consolidation range. I know it moved down 40% yesterday. I think there might be some more room on this. We're open, by the way.
I like 31 for CNC. That's the middle of that consolidation. You draw a line at 31. I think you'll see what I'm referring to. But as far as CNC goes, I think this potentially could still go lower. That's why I'm looking at 31. But I wouldn't also be surprised if we did hit those lower levels of where it was bottoming back in 2015 to 27. I'm sorry, 2017.
Geo here saying, watch it rip at the open.
Right.
Ryan. Look, man, I would be laughing with you if that happened. I wouldn't even be terribly shocked if something like that happened. Okay, we're open. Let's go to the main stock. I know we missed Oscar and ASTS. Those were the only two stocks. BBAI, Izzy, I know that you threw that in there late. I'm sure we'll take a look at those here today. Let's first take a look at the opening print, and then we can kind of review some more of those stocks there.
What's nice about AS?
Yeah, really quickly. Really quickly. We did have one question here about La Rosa, which is ticker LRHC. Guys, just as a reminder, we're not going to cover. This was a 6-cent piece of junk garbage stock that is running 180% here, up to a whopping 23 cents. We're not going to spend time on this. If you trade this, good luck. Trade it on technicals. Make sure you get some gains. We're not even going to waste time on junk companies like La Rosa here.
I was just going to mention with ASTS, it looks like after this nice run, we sort of backed off the highs in the 50 handle. We did come back down, almost tested the 20-day SMA. Looks like yesterday's candle does kind of look like it was a bit of a reversal candle, because here we are gapping up and trying to go higher here. Looks like a test of 50 could be coming. Don't know today, still possible, but maybe after this week is over, we see 50 again, because it looks like it's really trying to jump up for it. Now, as far as SBET goes, because someone I was getting a mention that hit that level that we were looking at in the pre-market here. I believe that was, let me just see here. I think it was the 500-day SMA.
I had 14 as the upside level that we peaked above and then immediately came back in.
1430. That was the 500-day SMA. We looks like we did hit that in the pre-market, a little bit higher. 1447. We hit that, and now we're backing off now, but we are getting caught by VWAP. So let's see what we end up getting here with SBET. If we get some more crazy moves, or if we're going to continue lower.
Okay, really good stuff here. Martin says, Ryan, bad mood? No. July 4th is one of my favorite holidays. I have multiple golf rounds already booked. We have the market popping here, and my day ends in a handful of hours. And I had a homemade Philly cheesesteak last night. Bro, I am about as good as it gets right now without actually being on the golf course. Sorry, 6-cent penny stocks, they're junk. That's not news, guys. That's crap. That's crap. Good luck if you trade it. Also, big time shout out. If any of the developers are out there watching, you did a great job with this new release that we are expecting later today. This thing is popping here this morning. Feels great.
Getting a mention from Maverick, IRN. This thing has been on a run for multiple days now. Don't know where this party ends. I think I even had a trend line that I drew across this one a day or two ago. We've broken above that now. Let's see, where does this go next? Maybe the next spot is 18. If you look to the left, back in December of 2021 to March of 2022, that was the area after that it lost the level it was trying to recapture. Seems to me like 18 is going to be a resistance area for IREN.
Okay. Kevin says July 4th is my daughter's birthday. Well, all of them, I love that. All of America is celebrating your daughter's birthday. That's like my birthday being on St. Patrick's Day. I never have to make plans. because there's always a party going on there. Ryan seems like he's in a great mood. We love you, Ryan. Yes, I am. And right back at you. All of you. Love all of you for joining us here today. Andis, by the way, popping out of the gate to 2. Good stuff there. Iran, I like that breakdown there. Grats if anyone had this one. This thing ripping right out of the gate. LIXT, it looked like a number of you were talking about this one earlier. This moved from 2, stopped at about 350, it looks like. Okay. What happened on this one? Was this?
SBET went down to the 65 EMA after losing VWAP, went right back up, recaptured it, trying to come back up higher. We'll see how much we get out of this.
So SBET pulling back to the VWAP here and not breaking down. So far, so good on that. Bull by the oops. I know we were talking about Webull earlier. Let's see. Oh, no.
Looks like there are some sellers in SBET trying to walk this down. There's one big seller that's trying to do that. See if you can get through him. Okay, it's pulling it down to the through VWAP. Need the buyers to step in. Datadog, that's trying to get above its VWAP as we speak. AEHR, that popped above its VWAP, holding above it now. And CNC, that looks like that's curling up as well. Some of these are starting to look like they're getting going here, but they're holding above their VWAPs. We need to see some more volume in these names. Git's trying to get back over its VWAP. First time it's been able to do so since earlier this morning after the pre-market opened.
LIXT here, this really pulled back, but it's doing its best to defend 3. We still have the VWAP here at 314. Jacob here mentioning be careful with this one. We did see a huge move. I'll be honest, any of you that were trading LIXT earlier, at least book some gains on that move back up. At least some, maybe not all, but some.
AEHR, that hit a high in the session already at 1574. Still above VWAP. Volume is not that great. Gits.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Gits is getting above that VWAP.
Tesla rolling over. Yeah, actually, yes. Gits setting up here. Let me put this. Maybe I will try that. I don't know. I'll watch this here because this has got some interesting action. I've got 478 as the VWAP in my broker, 481 here. Looks like this is going to try and push higher. 486 is your high print. No, it's not really. That's just where I see some of the volume there. We'll see here. Battling right at VWAP. Be careful here on GITS. Tesla, by the way, this is what I was trying to say earlier. Tesla at the bottom end of that pre-market range. We're either going to bounce here, but if not, we probably come in and put the next level there at 312. Tesla.
Looks like Planet Labs is taking off right now. That's up over 5%. That's one of the better movers on the list this morning. That and VSAT. Nothing really big on the space front right now, but it's just notice that it was moving up.
Okay, Gits is still flirting with that area right here. It's trying. This is actually some pretty encouraging action here if it doesn't break down. Fun Dev mentioning that RGC is halted. That's been a wild one recently. Here you go, RGC. So this is back in a $12 handle. This is halted to the upside after a pretty big pull yesterday.
SBET losing its 65 EMA. So next level I see for support is going to be down in the mid 12 area. AEHR couldn't hold above VWAP. That lost it, but hasn't lost 65 EMA yet. CNC, that is, it was trading higher a moment ago, but it's pulling off it. This is kind of what I would expect for a lot of the day. We're gonna get this kind of illiquid volatility. So,
well, I mean, okay. So on some of these names, so SBET here, this is actually breaking the support level. This would be bad if this breaks. Now, looking here at the market, we are continuing to push to highs here. So SPY, S&P futures all the way up at highs here, 623, 13. I had discussed 630 to 640 kind of being a SPY level where we might actually reverse that somewhere in there. I wouldn't be shocked over the next couple of days to see SPY trade a little bit higher here before we turn around. But SPY here pushing right out of the gate. NASDAQ doing the same thing, although NASDAQ has turned around a little bit.
Yeah, this is on what? It's 4 million shares.
It's not a whole lot. Yeah.
No, it's not.
You're right.
No, but
almost 5.
But I mean, we got a gap up here. So, if sellers do step in, I would think that the gap fills, but we'll see if that ends up happening.
Daniel mentioning that GITS did not have the volume, and indeed it pulled off of that VWAP spot here. BMNR getting mentioned by several of you here. This at yesterday's intraday highs, maybe a pop here. I'll be honest though, this is not one. Are we still going to go higher on this one? I still have the trend line on there. I think that steep trend line is probably out of the question here at this point. But actually, there we go. Are we above? Yeah, we're above yesterday's intraday highs. Here we go. It is a Bitcoin name, yeah. Bitmine Immersion, yeah.
Yes, Bitcoin. It's in the middle of a session rally right now, trying to get up to the highs that it made earlier this morning of 110 and 325, $110,325. That's the looks like that's the all-time high, is it not? I think it is. No, I'm sorry, 112. 112,000 is. But, we take out that 110. We're not too far away from new all-time highs. So we are kind of trading up into a bit of a W-shaped recovery here, almost as if we're going to trade into a scallop. So we'll see what happens up at 112,000. Might get a breakout.
VIX getting melted here in the pre-market, holding here at about 1624. I think we discussed 13 as being the range where the VIX is likely to bounce from if it gets down there. MINM at the bottom end of its range, not really going yet. Izzy mentioning that bull is gone. It's another one that we talked about here today. Bull breaking above that pre-market high. Indeed. Indy, here's Planet Labs. You had mentioned that was taking off earlier. Planet Labs at the pre-market high from Wednesday. This actually, now Tuesday was the day that we got that huge news. That took us up to about 7.5. So we got some more room to go there.
Now, remember, when it comes to bull, we're looking for resistance at 16. That's a little more than $1 away from where we're at right now. Has a task right now of getting through this seller at 15. There's a bit of a wall there, but that's just as we were mentioning earlier, 16 does look like a resistance area for bull if we end up getting up there. So just keep that in mind.
RGC is open and moving higher here. Looks like the next spot is 16 on RGC. I know Crow was on. Where's Crow been? I know he has been trading this one.
I thought he was on vacation.
Oh, well, that would explain it then, wouldn't it?
I thought that's something he said earlier this week, that he was going on vacation for like a week. So he might be back next week. Maybe the week after. But as my worthless memory does recall, I think he said he was going on vacation. We'll see.
Okay.
If that's the case.
GITS here, after that initial pull, we might be trying to trade back up to the VWAP here. This did a really good job holding that 15 EMA on the 5. RGC halted again to the upside.
AEHR continuing to rise here. Looks like, I think we may have said 18 was a interesting area that might provide some resistance. I'm looking at a daily chart. That's what it looks like to me if we continue to rise today. This AEHR, this is getting to be really overcooked here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did run, but once we start to sell off, that might be your signal to maybe take your position off the table or do whatever it is you're going to do to protect yourself, because it feels like we might get some pullback here, especially with the run this has been on.
BTBT, this was a curl here right back to its VWAP, but it's stopping there. BTBT. That's Bitcoin moving with the rest of the Bitcoin names there.
Yep. Looks like GITS. This is still trying to recapture that VWAP. Might have something here if we do get above that VWAP, but going to need better volume than this. Just looking for something that's setting up. Is Datadog finally going to make a move here? Looks like we have a bit of an engulfing candle happening on the 5-minute. AEHR popped up to 1587, pulled
That's
off
what
of
I
that
was
a
trying.
little
That
bit.
I knew I forgot a ticker that you had mentioned there. It was AEHR. How are the options on this one? Let me take. Go ahead. Let me just take a look at the option chain here.
CNC coming up to putting in a high of 34.79 before it started pulling off here. Looks like 35 might be an interesting level of resistance. So it didn't get too close to that before we started getting a pullback here. As long as this holds above VWAP, there might still be more of a trade here, but it's not a great looking candle at the moment.
Not a ton of activity in the AEHR chains around this earnings report. I would say that there's more on the call side, but it's not anything crazy on that. And what?
Lots of stuff pulling right now.
Izzy, you had sent me something here on LAES. I can't read it from the tweet. Let me see what's going on with this.
Jonathan Cooper saying the dollar's coming in. That should help lift stocks. Cheaper dollars, or cheaper dollars is going to make it easier to buy stocks for foreigners. Might see some of those inflows, but I guess not right now. Okay.
So really quickly, so Izzy, you were asking me, what do you think? So on the surface here, this PR looks pretty good, right? So they're growing. So LAS Seals Q here sees growth of up to 82% year over year, so 45 to 82%. Preliminary unaudited revenue of 4.8 million. That's in line with the first half of 2024. But this does look like pretty good growth metrics. 16 to 20 million for full year 2025. That carries forward the growth. And then 2026 and beyond, what do they say here? Revenue growth of 50 to 100. So it looks like they're anticipating more growth ahead. That'd be pretty good. This company's what? Market cap 472 million with no revenue. But that revenue is growing here. They still have cash on hand. Unaudited revenue of 4.8 million. I think this is good, Izzy, but I wouldn't overvalue this. I wouldn't chase pops on it. Good news though, sure. We want to see if those metrics hold. Sorry, 13, get in there.
It doesn't look like CNC's to the downside quite yet. I would think it would need to lose, probably need to lose 34.30 somewhere in there, maybe the 65 EMA before I would think that there's going to be more downside ahead. Still grinding up, but it hasn't reclaimed that 34.79 high yet that it had about 5 minutes ago. We'll see if maybe it's just going to cool off. I would wait to see where we get some of the support. If we start losing 34.30, that might be the indication that this is going to end up going lower.
Okay. LAES long term. Yeah, I could see it. Izzy, I'm not interested in taking that small cap long term, but the PR here, they definitely seem like they're doing the right things.
Samel, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but you know what? It's like we've been saying all week. This is a short week. It's a truncated week. We're gonna, have a half day today. It's probably better to be out early than too late.
This is I mean, Samel, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a register ring for this. Yeah. We had a nice little impulse move there in the pre-market. We pulled back to VWAP, really kind of held it. Did get a little wild there as we kind of broke it and pulled back to the EMA, but that got quickly bought. Now we just set new highs. You sold into highs. That's how it's done. That's good. That's good. Maybe I'm early. It's better early than late.
Yeah.
A truncated week. Thinking about it is trying to stir some stuff up on Thursday, it would seem. I love it. By the way, look at GITS. Maybe you weren't early. Look at GITS. This was kind of flashing like maybe this was going to try and go through the VWAP. Sad trombone. No, we rolled over from that and now lost that 15 EMA.
Yep.
So I think you did good. I think you did good, Samel. I do.
A lot of these names just not having the strength to get anything done today. Really, I mean, CMND that popped up to VWAP out of the gate and it's done nothing but go down. SBET, that popped up just before the open. Nothing but red candles since. Down to 1201. It found support. Probably could even go lower. Datadog, mostly sideways, but I wouldn't write this one off yet. Curious to see if it's going to get above 149. CNC's probably been one of the better ones. It's been nothing but green candles, even though it hasn't been.
How about that? So let's all laugh at me because we said that this might, we want to confirm a bottom here. We'll laugh if it rips right out of the gate. What's it doing? Well, it's ripping right out of the gate. It's making me look as dumb as humanly possible. Let's all have a laugh.
Webble couldn't even get up to 16. It couldn't even get to 15. At 14.97 is the high we have so far for this session before we turned around and now we're trading beneath VWAP. Maybe we chop around with this one today too, but I don't think that this is just me personally and based on what I think about these the two companies. I don't think Webble is going to be the income generator, the revenue generator that Hood is. They're not. I just don't think they're there yet. Maybe once they have some more of their crypto wallets and their ability to transfer crypto assets to their wallets, that might be a game changer for Bull. But until that happens, I don't think it's up to par with Hood.
When we were trading UNH, when we were looking for UNH to bottom, look what we got. All right. There were a couple of these days where it traded up initially and then it rolled back over. Now, the day that it actually did bottom, we plunged. We were gapping lower and then we plunged out of the open and then bounced and retraced most of the move. This right here did end up marking at least that short-term bottom. And so far, we've kind of drifted higher from that. So this is kind of the playbook that I'd be looking at for CNC. Now, unfortunately, I was saying, hey, let's wait and confirm that. Maybe we're getting the plunge here and the retreat. So I don't know. To me, this seems like we're still in head fake territory, right? I want to see maybe another move down and then the buyers actually step in there. That would then tell me maybe we have confirmed that bottom. By the way, the producer Smell wanted to tell you, book those gains and crack a Freedom beer.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Hey, thinking about, you know what? I'm probably wrong about the pronunciation, and I couldn't care less. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Weeble.
Sure.
It's 13's like, I'm not biting. I don't give a damn.
I'll just go by the ticker. It's Bull.
There you go. I like that. I still like the joke. I can't remember who it was, but someone on Twitter is saying, of course Bull's going to run. The ticker's literally Bull. And that was so good. That was one of the top comments of 2025.
Anyway, I don't think it's going to run like Hood did. Not yet.
Circle here popping out of the gate.
Yeah, that's I think what it needs to happen there. Thinking about it. I think it needs one more E. Because then it'll be small bull. Maybe it could change to calf, like a wee bull, like a small bull.
Jeez. Thinking about it, it's awesome. Unremarkable me. You are remarkable. That's nonsense. Seeing you've covered it many times, is MLGO about to run? So we've traded this one a bunch. I know it's a penny stock. We've traded this one a bunch when it's kind of when it's been hot, when it's got into dollar territory here. The short is 11.32 million shares, which represents over 50%, indeed 50.24% as of the last read there. Relative volume yesterday was huge. Average volume is 25 million, and yesterday it was 155 million. That dragged the average up, by the way. We're actually going to eclipse that average here today. Here's what I'll say on Remarkable. First of all, volume is definitely supporting a move higher. The chart here, at least on this 5-minute with the past couple of sessions, also supporting that. We're definitely at a resistance area right here at 73 cents. 75 is going to be the key level there. I'm not going to try this. This thing to me is kind of in the death spiral. We do have some previous levels from when this thing really ran. So I'm going to stay away from this. But just to answer your question here, looking at the chart, yeah, maybe. I won't be a part of it, but maybe.
LAXT, this still, pushing a little bit higher. 390 is the high now, but don't know how much more we're gonna get out of this one.
SRFM, nice job on this one, guys.
Oh,
Didn't trade that one either. God, more
There's
Apple.
Crow.
There's Crow.
I guess he's not on vacation. I thought he was. Maybe it was somebody else.
Yesterday I was a wee bit offended. We didn't see Crow all day. We didn't see Mike all day. And then as soon as the show ended and we started with story trading, both of them magically showed up. And I was like, what's that about, Crow? What the hell is that about? I'm just kidding, though.
BMNR just hit 69.
Nice. This thing, nice little rip out of the gate here, though, all jokes aside. We're actually coming up to the $72 level. That was the high from, what was this, Tuesday?
That's right. It was Jay Rice. Thank you, Crow.
He's going to be, Jay's off all next week.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's what you're thinking? Okay. And then I was just talking about Apple there. I wanted to briefly mention, I changed away from it because we talked about this. This Apple trade still continuing. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Katie Stockton outlined a great trade on Fast Money that had a lot of people talking about it the next day and on X. 215, break higher here. This move measures to 238.
BMNR, this is now at 72. This is getting pushed up. It's very, 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 very liquid name here. The spreads are higher than 50 cents, it looks like. 50 to 70 cents from the last order book print that I just saw there. Planet Labs still climbing. Lixt now at 410 is a high. This is what we were saying could happen. We're going to get these liquid moves.
Well, you're getting it in the market, dude, because SPY continuing to push higher here. Just a massive, massive rip. 624.5 now on SPY. S&P futures doing the same thing. Dow at the highs, NASDAQ at the highs all around here. And it's dragging other stuff with it. PanW at the highs. Amazon. Izzy, did you just absolutely murk Amazon today? Because that thing just right out of the open here. What a move higher. Goldman Sachs, we were talking a little bit about the banks earlier. Goldman Sachs, no chill out of the open. Literally sold off a little bit right around the open. And buyers were like, no. Higher we go. We're actually above the pre-market high from Monday. How about that? Look at Goldman Sachs. Where's the next spot on this chart? This thing is in breakout mode.
Crimp biscuit. I don't think it does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yes, it is a regular after-hour session here. Well, okay, it ends at the regular time. It's long.
Yeah. That's a long. I thought they wouldn't do that. Okay, here we go with Bull. That's starting to get some attention now. Lots of sellers up at $15. So that's where they were last time. Let's see if they get taken out this time. Datadog also coming up to the pre-market, the high just before the open of 149.65, approaching that level as well. SBET trying to turn around after getting support at $12 and the 200 EMA. Coming up to the 65 EMA and VWAP. Not sure if we're going to get a move through this or not. That is kind of a bear flag that we have formed here. So we could see some lower prints. What else?
Scott here saying, I'm just going to leave this here real quick. LIXT, Smoked Tuna called 390 on LXIT on Tuesday, and it went to 4 today. So we will always support and elevate those in our community that continually make good calls. Nobody should be surprised at what Tuna's been able to do here. Scott, hopefully you're able to make some money off that. And I appreciate you shouting out our community members. Really appreciate that.
That Smoked Tuna AI.
And I'm sure we can get you on that. I'll show it to you at 13. And I'll tell you something else. I don't want to make promises that I can't keep here.
Why this weekend, MC Midnight? Because I think this has got a lot more to offer here. Is there something going on over the weekend? Let me know. Hey, take care, Market Sniper. Have a wonderful 4th of July.
Enjoy your 4th.
3D. 3D. Wanting to look at Ford?
Oh,
okay. Up 1%. We captured the $11 level.
Bro, you remember when this was a stock that we talked about on Happy Hour all the time for this channel trade between 11 and 16? Day trader, have a great weekend, man. Stay safe. Come back with all your fingers and a happy 4th.
I still have all my levels here. 1118 was one of them. 750 was where I was hoping that this would come down to, so I could do a position. Over the long term, this could go back up to 20. Certainly possible. Data dog. This
is actually a pretty. I like the look here on the daily. Nothing. One of the things that works really well for Ford, if you end up buying the stock, sell covered calls against it. We have a guy in our happy hour that just literally does this all the time. Adds it when it's low, sells covered calls against it. If the stock gets called away, it gets called away at a gain. You just reload, wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, and then watch when everybody comes back next week, Joseph. We get some sellers profit taking. That's a little bit of what I'm anticipating we might see early next week is everybody that hasn't been participating in this market this week comes back to see all their portfolio is up, and they're like, "Oh, great! I'll just sell some of this then." Kind of thinking we might end up seeing that. Could end up just being we get that really quickly, and then we turn around and start going on to more highs.
Rhett, good mention here. Ford increasing its dividend. It's done that pretty well over its history. Oscar, this was another stock that somebody wanted to look at earlier. This was a Tim Melvin pick that, frankly, this worked. I think we talked about this in a 13 handle. It went all the way up to near 23. Now it's come back in a little bit, but it's still holding in that same area there. And today, so far, it's actually holding yesterday's intraday low. So no panic here yet on Oscar, but this was already a dub from Mr. Melvin. I love yesterday that he just totally cheesed me, and he's like, "Yeah, figure out what Chipotle you want to go to because the dinner that he owes, he's going to try to get off doing at Chipotle. That boy's buying me a filet. I'll tell you that right now."
Ford had to reduce their dividend over the pandemic, especially when they made those bad decisions.
I don't think they were unique in that, though. I think that there were several companies that reduced their dividend over the pandemic.
Some did away with them.
Yeah, some got rid of them. How's the news, says Tiger. It's good. It's good.
BMNR, now 74. 74.46. Jeez, this thing. Planet Labs up to 682. This looking for some. It's looking for $7. Bull through 15 finally. 15.12 is now the high. Still think that $16 is going to be the big resistance area as we were outlining earlier. AEHR after that nice pop and drop that took it beneath VWAP, it's finding some support in the middle of the 15 handle, trying to recapture that VWAP. See if it can do that.
Here is BMNR. This looks like this is trying to go to 80, to be honest.
Well, what was that high that we had yesterday?
High that we had on BMNR?
2 days ago, I'm sorry.
It's right here. We're literally testing it right now, 13. The exact value that I have for that, 74.80.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
yeah.
We were just literally 20 cents away from that.
Yeah, we're right there. Wow. We're literally right there. BBAI, by the way, took out the $8 target that we had, and so far is trying to grind above. The high print here, 828 there for BBAI. That's still in play here today.
Good morning, Amanda. And Izzy and Eli are both saying that LIXT is halted and down. So
halted to the downside, I believe.
Yep. So Samel, this is exactly why you, even if you thought you got out early, which I mean, it looks like maybe a little bit, but this is exactly why you stuck with the plan that you had. You did not get caught in this. You made money. You're going to have a great 4th of July weekend.
I think she earns another level up for that. Yep. That's what I think. That was a great trade.
Absolutely. And you didn't get greedy. The greed would have hurt.
Greed imprisons us all.
Yeah.
Yep. TripAdvisor here moving to the highs. This is TripAdvisor shares trading higher after activist investors Starboard Value acquired a 9% stake in Trip. Interesting. Anyone like Trip after the Starbird 9% stake?
Sorry, I'm just laughing. Symbols saying that we're spoiling her. No, we're not. We're just trying to pat you on the back for doing a great job on your trade.
This is a hard job, and it is a job that that involves and necessitates many failures. And so it's my view that it's extremely important that when you have a success, that you celebrate that success, because it's not all going to be like that. Even the best traders in the world, the Paul Tudor Jones, the Warren Buffetts, they lose. So it's very important. Keep your eyes on the prize. Positivity is going to drive us forward. There's no question about that.
Danielle, you're absolutely right. BMNR hit 80 to the dot. And it's interesting, too, because the low of this regular session has been 55. So apparently this stock does really like round numbers.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Joseph Smo saying that UNH held 310. AEHR trying to recapture the VWAP.
BMNR going for 80. We're above the high from Tuesday. I'm going to do this just because it's going to be way too comical otherwise.
Oh, man.
I have the trend line target at 150.
Okay, so basically we're looking for almost a 2x from here.
I don't even want to say that I'm looking for that, because that's crazy. that is a possible wild scenario. We'll see. Is he mentioning that Rocket is weak? Do we get to add? Because nothing has changed for me on the Rocket thesis. It's down 2.7%. Yeah. Basically just deleted what it did yesterday and the day before.
Oh, yeah, back out of that channel. It's interesting because yesterday that channel that I was talking about, it ended up going to the top and bottom of it. The 14. Let's see. I was saying it was like 1450 to 1520. That was the channel. We're back out of it, but we're still holding above the 200-day SMA, so that's good.
I'm going to read you a quote from a trader that I've been following for a long time. She's not like famous or well known, but she's sharp as a tack, and she's unbelievable at trading stocks here. She writes about the rally that we're seeing right now. Quote, "This is not short covering. This is chasing. Too many people wrong-footed. Too many people still buying fixed income. Too many people calling for a recession. Too many people scared of tariffs. News turns your brains to mush. Have a nice day." She's 100% correct on that. I wholeheartedly agree.
BMNR getting a pull off of 84 now.
RGC pulled back off of its highs, but not breaking down. Jane, take care of yourself. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the 4th.
Crow is looking at WINT, W-I-N-T.
That was on the list earlier. I don't see it here, but hang on a sec. Let me pull that up.
Oh, okay, because it went up to 145 this morning, and it has since come back in. VWAP is at 113. Looks like the next resistance area is going to be at about 107. I'm not sure I'd want to really deal with this until it gets back over $1.
It's right there. It's at 97 cents, to be fair.
Really getting the pullback from BMNR right now after hitting 84.
Okay, well, that had a huge move that should have allowed folks to sell into it. LIXT has resumed. NPWR at the highs. LIXT has resumed, and this lost its VWAP. Oh, I think I got to sneeze. Yep.
Joseph Schmo saying Frog hopped up 3%.
Woo.
That's good. Yeah, where's some of these bigger names at today? I haven't looked at a lot of these. So it looks like Tesla's is kind of hanging out above the 200-day SMA, trying to recapture the 50. That value's at 317.33.
NVIDIA at the highs here. 160 coming on NVIDIA.
That's all-time highs.
Yep. Palantir, I'm seeing some call buying here on Palantir as well. This at 134. This also curling here.
AEHR just had a nice move through VWAP. Not at the session highs yet. That's 1587. Currently at 1573, so it's not too far away.
Rhett here saying you can make a great living lately on Tesla just by letting Musk and the president exchange barbs.
Oh yeah.
I'll actually refine that a little bit. You can make a living on Tesla alone if you get a really good feel for this stock. I mean, look at Red Dog. Red Dog, Dennis Dick. Dennis Dick did a great job trading this for a long time. This is a monster stock that has a ton of volatility. You get any type of really good feel for trading this you don't need anything else with Tesla. Look into the light and you shall sneeze. That's got to be a troll. There's no way that's like a home hack.
That's something that I've done for a long time now. It does work.
So if you feel like you have to sneeze, looking at a light will make it come?
Yes.
Will make me sneeze. Come on, dude. It's not. Is that? I'm asking seriously. I've never heard this. Help me out here. Look at a light if you feel like you have to sneeze, and it'll force the sneeze. Okay.
Yeah. That's what happens.
Okay. You learn something every day. Here, I've got a graphic for this. I've got a graphic for this. You ready? The more you know, folks.
Datadog.
I had no idea.
Datadog still printing more highs here. The pre-market high of 152.50. We're approaching that still. It's $2 away.
The sun works the best. O is light. 13 is right.
Well, I don't don't use the sun. I think looking into the sun is pretty bad, but so not any light, but some, maybe like
you remember when Trump looked at the eclipse with no glasses on and everyone lost their damn mind? That was actually funny.
That was really funny.
That was actually
on both sides.
I mean, there's nothing you can do but laugh at that. Like, I'm sorry. Folks, don't look at the sun or the eclipse without eye protection, just to be clear. Okay, I'll be right back, 13. 1 second.
No problem. All right, so BMNR, what did that end up doing? It's okay, so still has a high of 84. Slightly come off that high now, trying to get back up there. We'll see if it can do it. If not, we do have support down around 72, which would be a pretty sizable fall. Bull, that coming off of the 15.15 high, it is coming down to support. Support's right about here, so we'll see if it gets that support there. Windtree still hasn't recaptured $1, but it's getting closer. It's about a penny away now. SBET, this looks like this is going to lose 12. CMND, this is getting support from the 65 EMA. Might have a turnaround happening here. We'll see if we end up getting that. Volume needs to be better though. LIXT, man, that thing then unhalted, and it's just going lower. Looks like the next support area, if there is any, is going to be down to the 65 EMA. So that would make it about 236.
Okay, sorry about that, 13.
No worries.
So thinking about it is actually a thing, but it's genetic. So it works for some and it doesn't work for others. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. We were just shouting you out. We were just shouting out how great Tuna Signal AI has been.
Yep.
Pull a nose hair. Oh my God. I would never do that on stream, guys. I mean, I'm just being honest.
If we can get 200 likes. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Parker, 13, damn you. Parker saying, buying the dips on SMR and OKLO. Just as a reminder earlier, Chris Catchy wrote a story about the most often searched, most frequently searched stocks in Pro in the first half of 2025. And OKLO was the only nuke stock that made that list and was number 10. Now, I thought that was notable. So the other thing here, Parker, is that I think if you're going to buy the dip in any of these for the purpose of a trade, OKLO is probably going to give you the best trading action. I still think we're kind of far away from these reactors actually like making money and all of that, but I think there's going to be multiple trades in here. This one appears to be the most popular.
We did just get a higher print in BMNR. 84.88 is now the high. Almost a completely $30 move from the low.
This is going to the stupid trend line, dude.
The stupid trend line.
I mean,
trying to get up to VWAP, but I mean, I think it's got still has a pretty big ways to go.
It does, and I'm not going to do it. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to buy this and be like, okay, and then be upset with myself later when it pulls back. Not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Let me see what my EMAs look like on this. We're above everything. We're above everything except there's no way we're going there. The only other so here's some levels for BMNR, and this is just really ridiculous. The 200-month EMA is up at 322.61. I don't think we're going there, but I do see a high that we put in back in September of 2021 of 109.80. That seems more realistic. Not saying it's going to happen. It seems realistic.
Okay.
Looks like CNC is coming off of the highs it made of the session. 34.84 is the high. Still think this prints 31 at some point.
Conga saying OKLO was mentioned in your show 2 months ago by one of your guests. I believe that was the T3 guys that were actively trading that back and forth. I'm pretty sure that's what you're referring to.
Thinkorswim actually has a study available on a stupid trend line.
I don't know. What's the name of that study? I don't know about that. I have Thinkorswim.
I'd be curious to know the name of that too.
Thinking about it closes at 1 p.m.
IREN has news, 13 read.
You get all that? It's easy.
Me too, big treat. Okay. So, let me see. Oh yeah, they bought the Blackwell GPUs. They bought GPUs. Okay.
Oscar back to his garbage can.
Didn't I say earlier that 18 was where I was looking at the IREN to move to? Because that 2021 to 2022, those after we lost 18 and the attempt to recapture, that's where the rejection was. So 18, that's the level I'm looking for resistance to kick in if we continue to move up here in IREN.
Oh, Conga, that's Tim Melvin, the guy that always talks about bank stocks. That's good stuff. Caveman Talk Today says Izzy. I get it. Ed, we need Kevin here to keep soliciting for those likes. Please give us the likes. It helps us. I know you're annoyed with me here saying it.
When do you want to do the 13 Kevin and Ryan show or whenever?
Yeah, we should talk about that. I mean, we can do that anytime. I think. We should do. Let me think about that over 4th of July. We could probably do that next week on one of the days we don't have a guest.
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be for those kind of days where we don't have a guest. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That might be a good idea. We'll look into that.
BLDP has been really rebounding nicely. Let me look at that one.
Market stopped there at about 625, by the way, on that pump higher.
This one actually, BLDP, this one actually looks like it's, actually trading like a real stock versus yesterday. Yesterday kind of seemed pretty illiquid. This one looks like it has better volume today. Let me see where this could go here. So earlier last month, 180 was the high it hit, and it came back in. I can see how that's a pretty good resistance level going back to last year, August of last year. I would definitely keep my eye on 180 because that's where it could do one. But if it gets through that, $2 seems like it would be the next level.
Seeing some news here on Summit SMMT. This is popping here on volume.
Uh-oh. We traded this one before too, right?
Yeah, we have. This has been a monster here. Summit Therapeutic shares. Oh, this is from yesterday. Trading higher on a possible continued strength after the UBS upgrade. But seeing some news here on Twitter. Summit said it's in talks for $15 billion partnership with Astra.
AstraZeneca?
It just says Astra.
Oh. Okay.
Did we have, who probably got that? Hang on a sec. Calendar.
It came right back in. What's the float on this? 116 million shares. That's some pretty good movement for a float that size. And it looks like there's a lot of positivity around the show for the three of us. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Make it happen. That'd be a great show. Okay. Conga, his name is Tim Melvin, and you can catch him weekly at 8:30 a.m. Eastern right here. Samel saying regarding Oklo, Fidelity Research is saying for the net. Are you saying that for the next 2 to 6 weeks it's weak and then it's strong? So I wonder what that. I don't have any experience with the Fidelity Research, but I wonder what kind of seasonality that's like incorporating into those predictions. Crow mentioning that RGC is growing. Crow, you absolutely killed this the first time around. Probably have a pretty good feel for RGC. Let me take a look at the, let me pull this up in my broker and see what the level 2 looks like.
Was this halted earlier this morning? It looks like this price action got out of the gate here. That looks indicative of halting.
I believe that it did. I just saw it on there, but was that yesterday? Thursday? No, RGC, 2 halt. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, hang on. Let me count. Come on. It is the third halt. It's been halted twice, resumed 3 times. There you go.
Speaking of halts, too, that summit that was just mentioned, that went all the way up to 25.94, and then this shot right back down, and it's halted at 23.84.
Michael saying, do you still get Matt Maley on? Unfortunately, we don't have him. He still works with us and has his option and stock trading service with us, but he has an obligation at the same time as he used to come on. So we don't have him on anymore, unfortunately. Last I checked, let me actually check here real quick. Let me check some of the recent trades that he made.
BLDP, that's still grinding higher. That's Ballard Power. RGC looks like that session high of 1873 is getting tested again. Looks like some of these other movers from this morning just not doing too well. CV sideways, GITS sideways, EMPG lower and sideways, CMND. This thing popped the VWAP in the gate, and it has done nothing but go lower, and that's under $1 now. MINM.
Here, for those of you that are interested here, I'm probably not supposed to be sharing this, but what the hell? Here are some of the recent closing trades that Matt has made. Looks like he was closing some SQQQ puts earlier today.
Okay. Just looking for something here. Some things move up, some things move down. A lot of things move sideways.
Here we go. Oh, no, never mind. Nope, wrong one. Okay. I can keep checking on this, I guess. By the way, shout out to the new notification center. There's going to be a big update in today's Pro update that makes this more usable. So shout out on that.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Let me see something here with the SQQQ.
Real quick here, VOR. This has been one that's kind of been on the radar or on deck here all week. VOR out of the open here, trading higher, but mind the trend line now. Actually, it actually broke the trend line here. See if this goes higher, I guess, on VOR. I'm skeptical. LIXT continues to come back in. Smell continues to look more and more like a genius. We'll take it. RGC right back up to 18. Crow, you think this pops? Crow, what kind of upside target do you have on this? Abbreviated day. Pete, this is actually good. The abbreviated day seems like a good time for Dan Ives to make a $2,600 Tesla call. Oh, that's actually funny. Followed by Kathy Wood at 7,800. That would be a good time to do that.
Somebody help me out here. Did this market just fall asleep? It seems like it just kind of fell off the cliff.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think maybe it's kind of waiting for Dollar Store Obama to finish his blathering on Capitol Hill here. I don't know. Sorry, probably too soon for that joke.
No. I'm trying to figure out who you're referring to.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Let's see here.
Crow here saying 22 at best. So RGC, it looks like a majority of that move is done there.
So we're just a couple cents shy of 625 in the SPY. We're about to hit it. It looks like we're right there.
Apple holding at 213. So Apple, by the way, really quickly, Apple's. I still believe that 215 level on Apple is good. This is going to be key, right? And we're holding right here. I think if we break higher here, I think we do probably go to this 225, maybe 230 on Apple for a swing trade.
All right.
That just my thoughts on that one. We'll see though. TMC, the metals company. You know, how's gold doing? Here, so TMC at the highs here. What's gold? Lion must have disappeared. He must have started his weekend a little bit early. Okay, so gold moving lower here, obviously with the market moving higher. I almost wonder if gold or silver even gets to a buy spot on this move higher.
Maybe.
Really quick, let me just ask this really quickly. If you folks are bearish, let me think about how I'm going to ask this. Now, sorry, 13, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Let's just see what happens with the big beautiful bill when it actually gets signed into law, because right now it's only passed the Senate.
Yeah, so I was watching this morning on CNBC. I'll be honest. So we kind of joke about some of the talking heads on CNBC. The young lady, Emily Wilkins, that does a lot of the political correspondence, I actually think she's excellent at her job. She never really seems to get too high or too low. She doesn't ever really seem to pick sides. And her reporting is about as accurate as it gets for CNBC. One of the things that she was saying here this morning was that the glide path was that it is likely going to get signed today. But I don't think that we're going to get that prior to this market closing. You know, I think we're going to be done and planning our dinner when that actually ends up happening. We'll see. Summit. Wow, this did open and go lower. Wow.
Yeah. One thing I was going to mention here with when we were talking about metals was FCX has been having a really good recovery since the Liberation Day, continuing to move up, getting the golden cross pretty soon here with this one. Looks like the 50s are coming up next. Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, so I was just bringing up FCX. I don't know if you heard.
I did not. Sorry, let me do that here real quick.
Yeah, FCX.
TTB is saying tomorrow 5 p.m. is when the signing is happening. Okay.
On 4th of July?
Yeah, I was going to say I could have sworn that they said that they wanted it to be at his desk today. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
No.
Nonetheless, whatever happens. By the way, RGC 1920 now coming. RGC, shout out for that because that moved higher here. My thought is that no matter when it happens, if it happens, the market's not going to be open, and we're probably going to be doing other things. That's my best guess. VIX actually climbing. So that's interesting. We talked about the VIX melting right out of the open. It's been climbing ever since, and the market is still holding 625 here on the highs.
What about the Qs? What are they doing?
Those also at the highs.
All-time highs. How about Dow Jones? Not yet.
Bitcoin backed off a little bit off this intraday highs at 111.
RGC now hitting a new session high, 2064. Yeah, probably.
We're laughing at the same comment because, what do you think about, so we're laughing at Pete's comment here. Whenever the bill gets completed, one thing is certain, Congress will need to take another 6 weeks off to compensate for the last few days of actual work. What do you think of moving congressmen away from salary to per diem? so that they only get paid for when they actually work. I support that.
I mean, it's pretty similar to the Buffett rule.
Sure.
I'd support the Buffett rule.
RGC testing 21 right now.
I know there's some nuance to that. I mean, like maybe you do have a really good member of Congress, and that the rest of Congress is pulling that person down, making him ineligible for election. That would be the problem I would have. But other than that, if Congress isn't going to perform in support of the people, then why are they still up for re-election?
Yeah.
Anyway, stocks. BMNR. This is trying to find some support around 79. And I mean, that's just $10 away from the high that it put in. It's still like in those round numbers. 89 is the high. So if we get a rebound here at 79, maybe we put in 90 or 91 next. We'll see.
Term limits are necessary. I'd be up for that. Both parties have a few overall members carrying most of the weight. Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Also, Congress should use Zoom for voting. Age limits too. I got no argument with any of that either. Oh, and just to be clear here, we're talking about both, not just one or the other. I'm with you on all of that.
SBET lost 12, coming down to 1150 next. It looks like. AEHR still kind of chopping around. Datadog still putting in, trying to approach those pre-market highs. 152.50 is what it's after. And it looks like if LIXT keeps going down, it's going to find some support probably around 240. Not suggesting anybody try and trade that, but that's just what it looks like.
Let's check in on, I'm looking to see if there's anything interesting on X, and I don't see anything on that. I did see someone other than Rustam mentioning the stock that Rustam was talking about yesterday, but it appears it has not moved yet. The reason I'm bringing this up, this sounds like a possible sympathy play to that BMNR, which is running here today. So I don't know, not really doing anything. Definitely seeing some mentions on Twitter, likely people pumping their own book. BT, boy, that couldn't get over its VWAP. That got mutumboed.
And it's mutumbling now. Datadog getting a little bit of a pull here.
Look at LIXT. Samel, have you started dancing on the table yet? Asking for a friend. RGC 21.
I'm trying to find something that just looks remotely interesting. Everything looks so either it's on a complete rip right now, or it just looks tired.
I was just going to say it's either dead in the water and not doing anything, or it feels like you're chasing because it's ripping right now.
Maybe BMNR is the one that we're going to get the movement. Here we go. It's looking for 89. Maybe we're going to get this 90 and 91 next.
Don't look now, but RGC might go straight to Crow's $22 price target call.
Thank you, TTV. Tom Lee is cheering SBET on X right now. So let's see.
Right now? How did I miss that?
Let's see if that turns it around. Well,
okay,
look at it now.
Let me pull up. Let me pull up SBET first. Then I'll go try and find the Tom Lee stuff and see if there's anything of note that we should reiterate here to the group. Thank you, TTB, on that, though.
Thank you.
Fun Strat is his.
That's
handle, right?
Yeah. That's a pretty good joke there, Crow. That's a pretty good one.
3 minutes. SBET. Yeah. Oh, he means business too, because he's retweeting tweets from SharpLink, and he's multiple fire emojis. Okay, so
I like treats too. He's retweeting. Anyway, that joke.
What are you talking about?
Your slip up there. You said he's retweeting.
Retweeting. Yeah. Okay, I didn't even realize that I did that.
He has three fire icons. Oh, guys,
four.
Sorry.
and you know what these are coming on. What he's retweeting is that the fact that they're going to ring the closing bell on July 7th.
Oh,
guys,
super bullish.
remind me how much revenue increase and revenue growth you get from ringing the closing bell. I mean, why is this?
CMND was a big turnaround, recapturing a dollar. Oh man, that's funny. We've seen names move on the most ridiculous stuff too. Like, gosh, what are some of the ones we've seen over the years?
Let me just draw you a comparison here real quick. If Eric Brock tweeted that, hey, Andis is going to ring the closing bell on July 16th or whatever day, whatever arbitrary day, I'd be like, huh, that's cool. Cool. They're going to ring the closing bell. You would not have me tweeting fire emojis. I don't really tweet fire emojis anyway, but I certainly wouldn't do it for something as benign as ringing the closing bell. It's like, okay, cool.
There's BMNR.
Anyway.
Through 91. It's at 93 now, 94. Here we go. Here we go. Looking for 95 now. It's probably going to halt. Oh, it's through. Wow, it just blasted through 95. I swear.
Sorry, which one? I'm looking at something else. Well, let me pull it up. BMNR, the big one.
Just a massive move after pulling back. Looking for 100 now.
My God, this is halted, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's just very spready. Right. Looking for. Look, I'm just going to say it. It's probably going to hit that 109.80. It's probably going to do it at this point. Would not surprise me. This isn't a solicitation for you to jump into it. I'm just thinking out loud. It's looking like it's going to do it.
If this goes all the way to the trend line, I don't know what I'm going to do. If
it goes to the trend line, it might be a good short, but I'm not going to speculate on that. Look at the way it's trading right now. I mean, let me just pull this back up here.
I like Investors Live here. Investors Live tweeting BMNR have the fireworks started. That's clever. Way to go, Nate.
I mean, let's see if this when it comes back in, if it gets supported 89, then maybe it goes on to 100 after that. We are getting a turnaround here in SBET, though. Is it going to be enough? You made money on SBET? Well done, Izzy. Barbecue money for Yassine from BMNR.
Love it.
That's right. There better be some nice big tomahawks. Any view on McDonald's? Let me see what that's.
Yeah, I'll pull that chart up here in a sec. Tara's saying, Ryan, I was told when I tried to enter RGB, I think you mean RGC, it had been closed to bids due to fraudulent activity. So I think you're talking about some of those errors where, depending on your broker, they won't let you buy it electronically if they think there's some type of fraud on it. You're not the only person to mention RGC. I think we actually went through this before. I think on that first run, there were several folks that couldn't. I didn't even try because I generally stay away from that stuff. I end up getting hurt on it. The one other thing that you might be able to do, though, you could probably call the trade desk at your broker and get more information. Even if you don't actually want to place the trade, you can probably get more information. And then, of course, if they do execute the trade for you, you should be able to close it from your platform. Once you're in it, you should be able to close it.
That is a broker-initiated restriction. They, some brokers do that, some don't, but that has nothing to do with anything else other than your broker. As far as McDonald's goes, seeing that we did get a nice turnaround here off the 500-day SMA, we are up to the 20-day SMA now. 2 days in a row now, we have not been able to recapture it. Today would be the third. If we are not able to get above this trend line and then thereafter take the 200-day SMA, we're going to have a death cross. That would not be good for McDonald's. So really need to recapture that 200-day SMA. First thing you need to do is get above that 20. And if we can't do that today, I'd be a little bit concerned about what happens next week. So for now, just need to see those two levels get taken out.
I wanted to go to McDonald's. Sorry, it took me a year and a day to get to the chart here on McDonald's. Of course, it broke because I'm all over the place. Here's your daily on McDonald's. Okay, so I really want to recapture that 296. I think that puts 301 in play. You might have just said that. I'm sorry if you did.
No worries. So, take care of VHV 73. You have a wonderful 4th of July.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to ask the group here, how much we got 20 minutes left here. Is anyone else like me where you watch Independence Day on 4th of July weekend?
I did that one weekend a year or two ago. It's always good to like watch some kind of classic 4th of July flick. I'm sure we'll do that again this year, but that's always been a really good one to watch. Just really
Independence Day on 4th of July and Home Alone on Christmas.
What do you watch for Halloween?
Halloween, the original.
The Halloween movies? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the original one, just Halloween one.
Ballard Power is now at 179. Speaking of Star Wars, but let's see here. What else we got? RGC, that went up to 2150 and came back in. So it could be bull flagging here. Let's see if it can hold above 1880. There was another one I was also looking at. Bull. That's trading lower, coming down to the 200 EMA. It's almost back to where we closed yesterday. BMNR 98 is still the high. Still hanging out here up at 94. I'm still looking for support from 89 if we do continue lower. But this one also could be bull flagging. National Lampoon's Xmas.
That's a Christmas classic without a doubt.
I love how thinking about it's trying to shake the cage here a bit. I know that's a contentious
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about this? So first of all, I'm going to answer the serious question first, and then I will address thinking about its comment there. There was a question here from Sibugi. How far can hood drop? This is actually a good question. Let me reset this here. How far can this pull back? I got to think that this $90 level is your first level here in the sand. If I go back to the chart tool here and we bring up hood, sure. Ooh, what happened? There we go. Sorry about that. Boop. I would also then say the 20-day moving average is probably pretty good. So like 90 and 80.
Yeah, I like the 20-day moving average. I feel like we did need to get some kind of mean reversion.
Yeah.
If you look at where the price had run up to, we were over 25% away from the 20-day SMA. I feel like a mean reversion is warranted. So this cooling off, that something that really needed, and it could continue to go higher. Just needs to cool off. We're still a little elevated on the RSI. I really would like to see a 20-day SMA test. That would cool it off, and it could go on the run thereafter. Would be fine.
Yeah, I would say a pullback here to 90 or 80 is probably a good pullback for resuming the current trend that it's in. Yep. I think, you know what, honestly, looking at this, I think even if you pulled, maybe not just in a quick foul swoop, but if you gently pulled back to this 50-day moving average, which is right at about 67, let's call it 66 to 67. I even think that the stock might be all right after that as well. I just think if you make a huge pullback, you probably want to just stay out of the way. But otherwise, I think 90 and 80 are your two levels to keep in mind there first. TTB is saying 85.50. So he's basically splitting the difference there, saying your likely support there for hood. 85.50. If you look at the chart here, this is about where it's at. And that was actually going to be the high from the 25th of June, right? Thereabouts. 85.55 was that high.
All great levels.
Yeah.
Well, I think the big takeaway here is we all agree that this thing does need to come back in and cool off a little bit. And we all seem to agree that once that happens, we can continue with more of this rally. Seems like we're all kind of in the same camp with that. BMNR is now 50 cents away from $100.
Oh, BMNR?
Mm-hmm.
Good gosh. Okay, now let me address the two non-stock related comments here. What?
There's 100 exactly now.
On BMNR? Okay, so let me load it up here. We're going to put the 5-minute chart on. Okay, thinking about it. I watched Die Hard because everyone knows it's a 4th of July movie. So here's the one thing that I discovered the other day. Do you folks know that there is like a contingent of people that are big on half Christmas? And that happens right around the 1st of July because it's halfway to Christmas.
I guess we don't have enough holidays.
Hallmark Channel plays Christmas movies in like July. It's like a thing. I just learned about this the other day. I don't understand it at all. But I actually noticed on AMC earlier this week, I think Monday and Tuesday, they played Die Hard and Die Hard 2 back to back. Now I watched it, but I didn't convince myself that it was a Christmas thing at that time, at that point.
I kind of like this take here with thinking about it. Die Hard is a movie you watch during Christmas. See, I'm not going to get into, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? It's a Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah, you're kind of getting into that right now, though.
Well, no, I'm not going to get into whether or not it is. I'm just saying that I believe it to be a Bruce Willis movie. I'm not going to say it's a Christmas movie. I'm not going to say it's not a Christmas movie. I'm saying it's a Bruce Willis movie, and that's about it.
I'm saying that any movie where the central plot revolves around the day that it's on, like this was Christmas, like they were literally doing this on Christmas Eve. There are multiple Christmas, that is a Christmas movie. It just happens to be about a terrorist takeover of Nakatomi Plaza.
I'm not going to get into
it. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to mention here, prayers up for Red Panda. Does anyone know who Red Panda is? Apparently this is one of those performers that performs at the halftime of basketball games. She gets up on a unicycle that's like 20 feet in the air. She fell recently, and broke her wrist. Red Panda suffered a broken wrist after falling from her 8-foot unicycle. Red Panda spent 11 hours in the hospital and will need further consultation with an orthopedic surgeon, but is going to be ready for next season. Just heart right there. Heart and upfield vision, we call that. Just I used to think that, you know, these people that do all this stuff, like, whoa, it would be crazy if they fell, or it would be crazy. And then I saw it happen. I'm like, this isn't crazy. This sucks. I don't want to see the woman fall off the thing. I'm glad to hear she can be back for next season.
Joseph Smo's got the right idea. He watches the thing on every holiday. Kurt Russell classic. And then we also have BMNR 104.50 is now the high. Danielle, look, I think we're on the same page here. Looks like it's going to 109. It's almost there. Getting a little bit of a pull. Maybe this is just some selling before it hits that level. We'll see, but it certainly looks like it's going to hit it.
Congrats is in order for the Crow. He's probably tired of getting so many congratulations all the time. RGC went above his $22 target, $23.74 here. It actually looks like it might print 24. Crow, yet again, another great call here on RGC.
Oh, hey, look, thinking about it wants to argue with you, so you can have that conversation.
There's not so much an argument. We're just having a discussion here. He's wrong, but we're just having a discussion here. Hans Gruber in the movie says that he is an exceptional thief and that he's planned everything out, even every last detail. The building would not be in the condition that it's in if they did this on any night other than Christmas Eve, thinking about it. You cannot just, we'll just do this on December 4th. No, the building's going to have more security, more people, more companies are still going to be there working late. No. Christmas was central to the theme.
All right. Some of these.
Look, I'm having fun here today. Someone accused me of not being in a good mood earlier. I challenged you. I call your hand. Let's see the cards. I'm in a great mood.
Danielle, we're almost there.
Hey, Yassine, by the way, I took the seasonality for PayPal when Chris was talking about it and the happy hour trading, and it's working very well. That's a shout out to Big Bees there on PayPal, which we talked about. Now, I didn't take this one, unfortunately, and maybe I should have.
That is a nice recapture of the 200-day SMA. Let's see it hold. And this is, we talked about how this was looking like an inverse head and shoulders that was kind of slanted. So if we're going to resolve higher, this thing is probably going up into the 80s or 90s. If we're going to get this resolution of the inverse head and shoulders, that's what it looks like to me.
CNBC is saying that Besant is going to be on money movers coming up here. The only reason I'm mentioning that is obviously with the market holding here at highs. I mean, if Besson's coming on, you might get more, let's call it, I guess, dovish talk on the market and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to be speaking today. Interesting.
And it's interesting because he's one of the leading candidates to replace Powell too. So if he's dovish, might translate to higher prints. PMNR hit 107.50, almost to that level we were talking about. Yeah, I know Danielle, you're watching this one. This is great. Amanda's looking for 100 in PayPal. So that in for a head and shoulders looking pretty good to her too, it seems.
Yeah, like I said, that PayPal trade, that would have been a good one to be in, but I took the Home Depot one and loaded up that one instead of splitting it between Home Depot and Lowe's. Really quickly here, Amanda also bringing up this is the big arguing point about Die Hard, and in all of our discussions about it being a Christmas movie, Bruce Willis movie, all of the other things, this never gets mentioned until right now. How crappy is it that their party was on Christmas Eve? I don't want to see my coworkers on Christmas Eve. Guys, I love my coworkers. I work on a team here that's very, very close-knit, and I completely agree with Amanda. The last thing that I want to do is be at a work party on Christmas Eve at night. How much does that suck? That's the one thing nobody ever talks about that movie. That would suck. I wouldn't be there. I would find 8 different excuses. I'd have a Rolodex of excuses to why I couldn't make that party. Just throwing it out there.
Watch the movie again. That party was off the chain.
Oh, I understand. It's a nice building. It's a nice party. There are a couple of people having adult fun in one of the offices. I get it, but still, Christmas Eve, I want to be at home watching a football game.
Maybe we didn't. Did they have football on Christmas Eve back then? I don't remember when they started doing that.
Well, the NFL, they probably had college back then because college plays through there. And maybe not, though, because they're waiting for the bowl games. I want to be at home doing something else. Mama Bear out BMR at 107. There's a big move. There's a good one. Kevin says, let's all go to Ryan's house. Yeah.
Amanda, my tree goes up like in as soon as Thanksgiving happens, my wife is on Christmas. She gives me that courtesy of letting me have my holiday, and then she is just vomiting Christmas all over our house. So my tree is not up on Christmas Eve. It is up the day after Thanksgiving.
That's when I grew up in my family. That's what we did too. The day after Thanksgiving was a kind of a second holiday because you put your tree up there.
Well done, Danielle, on that. That is a great trade on BMNR. Still have 107.50 as the high. Not sure if we're going to get that 109. What was that print exactly? The one from we were looking at earlier. The 109.80 still could happen, but no guarantee.
Crow, were you here for me giving you your flowers on your RGC call? I know it went 3.5 points higher, but that was still a really good call. We'll give it to you again. Rustam, you're just now joining us. I actually took a look at OSRH earlier, and I said, where's Rustam? Where's Rustam? We think that this is a potential sympathy play on the BMNR move. You know what's worse than being at an office party on Christmas is being on a ship on New Year's Eve and having a tidal wave capsize it. And that's what happened in the Poseidon adventure. Yeah, that would suck. New Year's Eve on a cruise ship that gets capsized. Yeah, that would be terrible.
That would be terrible. Way to wave off the former year.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you did there, 13.
Dark humor. So BMNR still not breaking down, even though it did come in a little bit. Still holding above 100. This thing is so silly.
PL bull flagging here. You mentioned this earlier on that Pop 13. This went right to 680 and is kind of holding here.
Yeah, that's the best performing space stock today.
Yes, Tommy is asking, is there aftermarket trading on half days? Yes, and in fact, the after hours session is open till 8. Take care of yourself, Yassine.
That's a great point. Just passing through. The first Rambo movie, there was a Christmas tree in the sheriff's office when he's arrested. So could Rambo be considered a Christmas movie?
No.
Why
Does
not?
it take place on Christmas?
Well, neither did Die Hard. It was Christmas Eve.
Christmas is 2 days. Come on, we're not breaking any news here. There's Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. There's 2 parts of Christmas. The Taste of Oakbrook. How good is that? I've never been to the Taste of Oakbrook. Enjoy it though.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the print we've been waiting for in BMNR. 109.80 exactly. That's the high.
This is unbelievable. I'm actually pissed that I didn't take this one here today. This is unbelievable.
And it's still going, still printing higher. So now that we've hit that level, let's see if we can even get to those crazy levels that you got, that crazy trend line. What is that, 150?
Yeah, well, how did I draw this differently then?
What do you mean?
This is the original trend line, right?
I don't think it's wrong.
No. Okay, because producer here has a different trend line that this hit, but it's not the same as the one I have. I see.
Okay. But yeah, this is still going up. It's 112.30 now. And let me see what the spread is here. The spread is like over $1.50. Just be careful, folks, please. Be careful.
$1.50 spread. I mean, just
yeah, that can't sound great to anybody.
This is a wild move, though. I'll tell you what, this and RGC are just melting up. Like Crow, this is now 6 points. Crow, went to 28. This is 6 points higher.
And nobody should have any regrets about selling too early. And when you have a stock that's moving up with a $1.50 spread and you're already out for a profit, I think you have to, be happy that you made money with this, because this thing could turn around and lose $10 in an instant. I don't think anybody should feel bad about getting out too early with any of these names.
No, definitely not.
The theme is this year been selling too early. I would prefer that be the theme than selling too late. Just me. RGC, on the other hand, has completely gone off the crazy train here, ripping up to $28 even, and is now halted. I'm still waiting for Tom Lee's 4 fire emojis to see if it does anything with SBET.
Well, it drove it down.
Yeah,
that's the big thing. That's apparently it drove it down.
There was a rebound that took it back up to 1250, but it didn't go any higher than that. Maybe if it turns around here at the 200 SMA, I'm sorry, the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, maybe we can go higher back into the 13 handle. We'll see.
Tom saying, I bought a Blackstone grill and I'm going to feel like a hibachi sushi chef this weekend. Yeah, awesome purchase. I love my Blackstone. Make sure you season it, though. Season it first. I used coconut oil.
Do you find the handle gets very hot?
Handle of what?
The hood.
Of the Blackstone?
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, I leave it open. I leave it open when I'm cooking. So the handle that's on the top is away from the grill surface.
Well, I've noticed, because we've got one. I've noticed that the way it's designed, which in my opinion is kind of poor, a lot of the heat from underneath in the burner area is thrown up to the front, and if you have it closed, it heats the hell out of the hood. You have to wrap some kind of cloth around it so it doesn't burn up or get too hot to handle.
I don't ever really close the hood.
Okay.
Because I have like a dome that I cover individual items on the flat top.
Okay.
So I don't have, interesting. You know what, 13, I'll try that just to see if I notice that. That's interesting though.
Yeah, because Firebox is usually supposed to prevent that from happening. So I don't think the design was.
Oh, that's right. You sold grills, so you know all about this stuff. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. I used to work for a manufacturer too.
Yeah, I forgot about it. That's inside info there.
Anyway, what do we got here with
RGC is halted at 28 even.
Yeah, still halted. 117.95 is now the high in BMNR. It's still pushing up there, but it does seem like the volume is fading. Yeah, Brian, that's absolutely true. I used to sell propane and propane accessories.
Oh, the Hank Hill.
Mm-hmm. We used to joke about that all the time.
Is that show coming back?
I don't know, but I had a coworker who was a friend of mine. I was in high school, and he did a really good Hank Hill, and he did sell propane accessories.
I could have sworn I saw a preview that's showing that is coming back. Hank Hill gets out of an Uber and gives the Uber driver a 4-star rating, and then says, "If I give him a 4, it'll give him something to work towards." And I was just like, I was dying. Tom, watch that video that I just threw in the chat there. It is incredibly important that you season your Blackstone properly before using it. Otherwise, that thing will deteriorate. It's not hard to do. It takes about a half an hour. Make sure you do it.
Data
All right. 13. We're about out of time here.
Okay.
It is time to get to the holiday weekend. Do you have any closing words here for the group?
I just want everybody to make sure they don't get any positions that are going to make them think about anything else besides the holiday weekend. Don't carry that into the holiday with you folks. Make sure you're completing your trades and not hurting yourself. Make sure you also have 10 fingers when you come back.
Yeah.
Be careful out there. It's going to be a great explosive weekend. I want everybody to have a healthy, happy holiday and come back here and let's make some more money next week. Take care, everybody. Have a happy 4th. I'll see you then.
Indeed. Thank you, 13. Really, really good stuff. Folks, have a great weekend here. Definitely enjoy time with friends and family. As 13 said, be safe. And just remember, this is, we're celebrating the birthday of the country here. This is I know we don't always do everything perfect here, but in my belief, this is without a doubt the greatest country in the world. Have a good one. Stay green, stay safe. 13 and I will be back next week. We'll be here with the producer. All of our guests will be back too. Have a great weekend, folks. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused.